Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jimmy John's Field for an exciting doubleheader between the Eastside Diamond Hoppers and the Utica Unicorns. Alongside Jason Ross Jr., I'm Jenna Rose here on the USPBL Network. Today, we're brought to you by our sponsor, our credit union. Along with that, Jason, we talked about how exciting this doubleheader is. Beautiful weather, and it's also 90s night. We love our 90s movies. We love our 90s music. So you guys want to come down and join us here in Utica. So today, what we're going to see on the mound, two right-handers. We have Ricardo Velez for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, and on the Utica Unicorn side of things, we have right-hander Austin Dakar.
Yeah. First of all, 90s, easily one of the best decades, Jen. We had 80s night, shifting over to 90s night. Austin Dakar, as Jenna mentioned, will make the start today for the Unicorns, his second consecutive start against the Hoppers. He started the game last Sunday against the Diamond Hoppers. I should say there was a 2-1 loss for his team. Pitched 3 2/3 innings of work in that one. An outing that only allowed one earned run, but it was the length of the journey, 3 2/3, that he'd probably like to shorten up a bit throughout the course of that outing. He had a season-high 6 walks, a lot of 2-ball counts. The walk numbers were high, as I mentioned, so he'd love to trim that down today. An arsenal that features the splitter, the fastball, and the curve. Again, at his best so far this year, Dakar has been efficient when it comes to strikes and finding locations with his pitches. What he did do well in that outing last Sunday, as the one earned run would tell you, is he navigated out of those sticky situations when they did arise. Now on the counterpart, it'll be Ricardo Velez, another righty for the Hoppers.
Yes, Velez definitely has a lot to work with within his arsenal. We see his four-seam, slider, curve, changeup, and specifically with Velez, what's so wonderful about him is that he leads the Hoppers with 23 strikeouts so far this season. But with that, sometimes the pitch count can get a little high. We saw during Velez's last outing that he had 4 walks and hit 1 batter with a pitch. So he's looking for efficiency coming in to today's outing. That breaking ball can be spectacular, especially that slider. So that's something that the Utica Unicorns need to look out for this season. So far through Velez's 3 starts, he's been able to work into at least 4 innings, which is going to be valuable for the Hoppers given that these doubleheaders only run 6 innings apiece. So that's what we're going to see from Velez today. But Jason, we talked about it before. We've had some exciting one-run games so far this season. Expand on that.
Yeah, last night the Beavers pulled off a magnificent comeback, entered last night with the lowest team combined batting average in the USPBL. We're trailing 5-1 entering the 6th inning against Westside. However, pulled off a 4-run 6th, backed up by a run in the 7th to take a lead that they would not surrender. So maybe a Beavers team that's beginning to find its groove a little bit of late after the offensive struggles. And then last Sunday, I mentioned when Dakar and Velez faced one another, it was another 1-run game. That was decided by an RBI double off the bat of Greg Vaughn Jr. in the top of the 7th of what was a 7th inning game on Sunday. I had the pleasure of calling that one. It was really fun to watch down the stretch. Greg Vaughn Jr. told me afterwards that the key to being clutch is not letting the moment get to you and just going up there, putting a good swing on the ball and playing for your team and not yourself. So that's the mentality that these guys have had lately, and it's made for some pretty fun baseball here at Jimmy John's Field.
Yes, exciting to see what's to come here today for the doubleheader. Jason, give us the lowdown about who we're going to see in the lineup for the Hoppers.
Yeah, when you look at the Hoppers lineup for Game 1, Ben McConnell will lead off and play in right field, the lefty. It'll be Adam De La Cruz batting second and playing shortstop. Pedro Castellano has the duties at second base and batting third. Greg Vaughn Jr., who we talked about, is in a cleanup spot once again today for the Hoppers and playing in left field. Nick Kreitzer will do the first base and play he'll bat 5th and play at first base. Gunnar Rainey will have the DH role and bat 6th. Jason Aponte will play in center field and bat 7th. Christian De Los Santos will bat 8th and play at the hot corner, while Felix Abarut rounds out the lineup, doing the catching and batting 9th.
And on the Utica Unicorn side of things, leading off is Anthony Jones out in left field. The designated hitter up next in the 2 spot is Frankie Luxka. Up next is going to be Johnson in the 3 hole. He will be in right field. Out in center field is Drew Galassi. He is batting cleanup. And following Galassi batting 5th is Noah Childress playing first base. Over in the hot corner is Aaron Takis batting 6th. Batting 7th is shortstop Donovan Curiel. Batting 8th is Jordan Finney, who's catching. And at second base, rounding up the lineup, is John Hodo. Again, you guys want to come join us today? It's 90s night. We're going to have some awesome music. I'm sure we're going to see some pretty fun outfits here at Jimmy John's Field. We'll see you later.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
Well, a late substitution, it looks like here. It's Miguel Sereno taking the hill for the Utica Unicorns, and we're literally finding out about that as everybody else is inside the stadium here. Fully anticipated for Austin Dakar to start this first game. More on that in a second as we take a look at our sponsors for tonight's game. Our credit union, AAA, Ascension, Balfour Property Restoration, Budweiser, DTE Energy, Fifth Third Bank, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Valpak, and UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for this league. So, the last start for Miguel Sereno was in the non-public game. They had a couple of those on Wednesday and Thursday. He pitched Thursday, 3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned, no walks compared to 1 strikeout. So a bit of a curveball for us, but looking forward to see what Miguel can do here today. Take a peek at these two teams split up on the stats as well. You see the records. The Unicorns trying to hold on to that top spot at 9-4. Diamond Hoppers can certainly make up some space here today with a pair of wins in this doubleheader. Slugging percentage, .360. That's a big story for this Unicorns team. All the home runs that they have hit so far, and the runs obviously in their favor as well. So Sereno getting ready to fire our first pitch here tonight at 5:27. There's a big swing and a miss at the fastball at 91 miles an hour.
Oh, Jeremy, as you mentioned, unexpectedly seeing Miguel Sereno today, the native of Puerto Rico, can expect the 4-seam fastball. Just saw that there in addition to the 2-seam changeup and slider. Changeup and 2-seam are, after speaking to him, in his words, the most prominent pitches that you can kind of expect, and both of those pitches come out of his hand in a similar fashion, which can be deceptive to opposing batters. So a fun guy to watch, worked in relief against the Hoppers last Sunday, and now again unexpectedly taking the bump as a starter.
Yeah, Thursday to Sunday, or to Saturday turnaround pretty quick, so really it'll be interesting to see how long Sereno goes here, maybe just a couple innings as Abarette's able to lean into, or check that, it's Finney able to lean in for the first out in this one. It's been more in relief of late for Miguel Sereno. Had a start back on the 13th of June, and then the one this Thursday in the non-public game as that slider floats away. The 1-0. Fastball away as well, 2-0. Check the rest of the defense behind Sereno here today, sponsored by AAA of Michigan. It's Anthony Jones in left, Drew Galassi in center, Colby Johnson in right, Takis and Childress on the corners, Hodo and Curial up the middle, and Finney, we told you, completing the battery here today. The Stars around home plate. 4th of July, sure we'll see that next week as well for the All-Star game. Here's the 3-1. Called back, 3-2. Quickly here on Adam De La Cruz, hitting a bit more up in the order here today.
I was going to note, changes in both lineups. You mentioned Anthony Jones in left field for Utica. That kind of alters the way that they have aligned things today, both defensively and when you examine their 1 through 9 order.
And just Anthony Jones in general on the Unicorns, because it didn't start that way. Kind of a transaction this week. He did play in the non-public games in a Unicorns uniform as De La Cruz able to sky this one up and over.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of speaking with Anthony earlier today, and a guy who's really excited to play anywhere, but as you know, he came over from the Beavers. It was Jim Essien, who initially, the manager of the Unicorns, began to kind of, I guess you could say, recruit him to the USPBL. The initial tryout that took place.
Popped it up to the left side. It's Curial who makes that play for the second out here in the first. Now Pedro Castellano will be the last shot here in the first inning. Well, if this is any indication, we see an arm warming up in the bullpen. Looks like Brandon Krenrich down there for the Utica Unicorns. So this is a one by one day.
Yeah, kind of a bullpen by committee day. We didn't expect that. Thought it was, as we talked about, Austin Dakar, who was slated to be the starter, and he's a guy who can give you 3, 4, maybe even 5 innings in a 6-inning game.
Sounded like maybe a broken bat off the end. Good play by Hodo. Vacuums it up and tosses it over to first base. And that's it for the side against Sereno. So we're really unsure how long he knew he was starting, but he makes it look like he's known the whole day. 1, 2, 3 breeze of an inning, all via the contact outs in the first. To Chelsea Estes now.
What's going on, Johnny? Chelsea Estes, you guys. It is a pleasure to welcome you to 90s night. I'm in my 90s element tonight, so it's going to be a really great night. But I'm here with JJ the Field General, presented by Thrifty Floors, and he found a very, very special fan in the stands today. He found Teresa to present this beautiful bouquet of flowers to. So congratulations, Teresa, for being JJ's sweetheart of the game. Johnny, back to you.
It's Chelsea Estes tossing it back to our public address announcer, Johnny G, here today. Pleased to have Chelsea as a part of our in-game entertainment and certainly stadium crew and broadcast as well. Time for Freaky Fast Facts, brought to you by Jimmy John's here today. Wonderwall by Oasis originally had a different title. It was Wishing Stone. Believe by Cher was the first pop song to deliberately distort a singer's vocals. Interesting. And our third one should be coming in just a moment here, going off the scoreboard here today. Chris Cornell's voice broke microphones when he was recording Soundgarden's Super Unknown album. So there you go, your Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Facts, presented by Jimmy John's, obviously. Now we're going to take a look at, we think, Ricardo Velez. Yes, he's not scratched. here as looks like Krenrich continues to warm for the Unicorns, so they probably will go one by one here in game 1 of the doubleheader. This is a guy who's looked good in his first 3 starts, Jason.
When you examine Ricardo Velez so far, the right-hander from Puerto Rico, he'll throw the kitchen sink at you. 4-seam, slider, curveball change, but it's the breaking balls, Jeremy, that have been so effective this year, in particular that slider. I mean, opposing batters do not want to see that pitch so far this season, especially right-handers. Now, when you examine the last start that was made against this Utica lineup, it's the walks that you'd like to see go down, a season-high 4 last Sunday against this Utica lineup. And the pitch count in general is going to be naturally high because he's a strikeout pitcher. But I think efficient strikeouts is something we've talked about throughout the course of the season. It's something you see the best strikeout pitchers in baseball do. Not only do they get guys out, but they do so in an efficient fashion.
So Anthony Jones takes a big rip at that one as he pumps it back.
Interesting to see Jones in the leadoff spot after Luxka had manned that role and done so very well over the last couple of weeks, ever since taking over for Frankie Luxka, who had, or beg your pardon, for Aaron Tactics, who had that role initially through the first couple of games.
0-1 is in for strike 2, a fastball at 93. That's right around where he's topped out
And
so far this year.
Yeah, and Jeremy, as you noted, we now confirm this is Velez taking the mound today. We don't anticipate this is a bullpen by committee day. Velez has, you're just going to note, Velez has lasted at least 4 innings in each of his 3 starts. So despite that trouble early on this past Sunday against Utica, was able to navigate through the sticky situations. But it's the strikeout numbers that you look for with Velez.
These 2 games, 6-inning games scheduled coming into tonight. All the doubleheaders are, as De La Cruz can't quite find the glove there. It's a leadoff single for Anthony Jones.
And now here's Luxka, a little shift of a roll into the 2 spot this week.
Yeah, Frankie, maybe a bit more normal, but still very good in walk to strikeout ratio lately in his last 5 games, 5 walks to 6 strikeouts. On the season, 15 base on balls to 9 Ks. So he's come back to reality a bit, but still priding a .551 on base percentage coming into today.
Luxka had a rare 0-for-3 day last Sunday against this Hoppers pitching staff, which again was started by the man on the mound right now, Ricardo Velez.
Colby Johnson, Drew Galassi, Noah Childress also representing the middle of the lineup here today for the Unicorns. Brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. Luxka trying to set those guys up here. 1-1 again is lifted foul.
Whether it's the 1 spot, the 2 spot, 3 spot, you'd love for that top third of the order to get the opposing pitcher's count up nice and early, have the rest of the guys see what he's throwing. And Luxka's a guy who certainly fits that billing after what you want in your leadoff hitter to get on base, as we saw with Jones.
Bluffing is Jones as Luxka grounds it foul. And for certainly a guy like Frankie as well, you don't mind seeing him hit second, third, or maybe even fourth. I think because of the the pop you have there. Yet to see what Colby Johnson can do at this level, but obviously Drew Galassi has proven that he can hit it out of the ballpark. So is Noah Childress. So it's almost like you want him either 1 or 2 or possibly 3, with Galassi hitting 4th and 5th here today. But there's so many different things he can do, and certainly we've kind of talked about that before as well. If he was hitting 3 through 5 or even 6, I'm sure he'd have more than 5 RBIs at this point, because there's certainly some pop in this bat as well, but you can conceivably put him at the top of the lineup and be just fine with the way his on-base numbers are. So a lot of ways to get you down, I guess, if you're the opposing team. Short lead for Jones, and this one tried to be pulled back in by Aberrett, but called outside.
I'd certainly agree with that. Luxka's pitch recognition, the ability to work a count and battle more often than not, as the on-base numbers would indicate, he's going to reach at least first base. So you slide him down in the order. Naturally, if Jones can get on base consistently at the top spot, if they do keep him there, he's going to be advancing to second. Then behind him, you have the names you mentioned, Galassi, you have Childress. I mean, those guys can certainly drive home runners, and it's a consistent thing. So
the slider gets Luska there. He was not happy. Certainly a guy that really knows the strike zone in and out for the number of reasons that we were just talking about. I think he probably thought the pitch before that was pretty similar in terms of location. Now Colby Johnson looking to keep this inning going in the first. De La Cruz feeds to second, and he'll do the opposite of that as the defense erases the leadoff single here in the first inning. 0-0 as Velez does his job.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Jeremy and Jason back with you here. Jenna Rose, the third member of our team here today. I guess the official but unofficial word on Dakar, as we've tried to kind of figure it out, a late scratch. Probably will not be around for game 2, so keep that in mind, and how the Unicorns can kind of navigate. Greg Shanahan was the scheduled starter in game 2. You'd think that probably stayed the same, as Sereno does come out for a second inning of action. You wouldn't probably see him go past 3 innings if he even gets out for the third, based off the fact that he threw 3 innings just on Thursday, and we're just Saturday here today, so just a day or 2 of rest for Miguel. Greg Vaughn Jr., Nick Kreitzer, Gunnar Rainey, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up here in the second inning. Fastball high to Greg Vaughn Jr. 333 average through 30 at-bats for Greg, as he pops this one up for John Hodo. And that will signal the first out here in the second.
Jeremy, we talked about Sereno's ability to, as you mentioned, the other day work 3 innings. Last week, efficient bullpen outing. Staying away from the barrel of the bat with his arsenal has been key so far to success, because it induces weak contact like what we've seen so far, and aiming for a second consecutive 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, all contact outs so far. Pop out to the catcher, pop out to the shortstop, ground ball, pop out has been his line against 4 batters so far here tonight. As that fastball slices, or the changeup, I beg your pardon, slices out of the glove of Finney. Typically, mostly fastball changeup. The slider thrown around 14% of the time.
And told me his goal entering the season was command all 3 pitches, the changeup, the fastball, and the slider.
2-1 out in front of the 2-seam there, 1-2 on Kreitzer.
In addition to getting signed by the end of the year. And if he continues to showcase that kind of movement on his breaking balls to pitchers and move the fastball around located well, could be a realistic ending here at the end of the season.
Kreitzer, a guy still trying to find it at the plate, 214 average. Does have a pair of doubles. Has not found one out of the park quite yet, but certainly a candidate for that, the way he takes BP out there. Tailing fastball inside. Fill it at 3-2 now. Gunnar Rainey would be next. Sereno gets some more weak contact. Anthony Jones under it for the second out.
You can tell Kreitzer got a little underneath that pitch. So again, not quite getting the sweet spot of the barrel of the bat on there, and that sweet spot is that much smaller with the wooden bat in comparison to what guys are used to in college.
'81 degrees here at Game 10. We'd love to see you out for game number 2 if you're watching this one from home. Scheduled doubleheader here today, both 6 innings each. Game 2 will start around 30 minutes after the conclusion of game 1, and wow, pulling the string on the slider there had Rainey golfing.
That's the beautiful breaking ball that we talked about. That time going to the slider to get ahead 0-2 here.
Looking for his first K. And was a little apprehensive about it as he chucked it out of play, 1-2. His best fastball today at 95. That's probably the best this season as well. Right there, actually. His high has been 95 coming into play here today. Another slider as it spun out. But 81 degrees today. You want to get outside before the extreme heat and mugginess comes back to the area. That will start tomorrow. 2-2 swing and a miss. Elevated fastball at 92. Able to dust him off. 6 up and 6 down versus Miguel Sereno in this one.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Welcome back, everyone, to Jimmy John's Field. Jeremy Idle back alongside Jason Ross Jr. 90s night here today. He's digging the music pregame.
Oh, yeah. One of the best decades, easily. As our broadcast crew can attest to.
Right. There's a lot of us.
Yes.
Velez back out there for his second inning of work. Nice job by him to really seal down what could have been an interesting inning for the Unicorns. Anytime you see the leadoff man get on, when you have Leska, Galassi, Childress, Takis all looming later on in the order, you're like, well, what's going to happen here with how good this Unicorns offense has been lately? But instead, he'll face those guys now. Galassi, Childress, Takis Your Zakhart Agency 3 men due up here in the seconds. Drew Galassi, 2 more home runs the other day in the non-public game. 5 RBIs on Wednesday, another RBI on Thursday, and that was an important one because it was a slight 2-1 victory for the Unicorns there.
Certainly a power threat at the plate. And as you see there, already kind of aggressively swinging at that first pitch. They came in at 92 from Velez. This is a fun matchup here between Velez and Galassi.
Yeah, just 1 earned run given up for Velez so far this year. That was his last outing versus the Unicorns.
He actually walked home that 1 run. So again, got in some situations, runners at second, runners 90 feet away from home plate, but navigated out of it. He can do that with the strikeout, but it's, again, efficient strikeouts, and this should be quite the battle here. Galassi's a guy with really quick punch with the hands, gets to the baseball, takes advantage of the inside fastball as well, so interested to see where Velez locates this fastball.
That wind picking up to right center field. He hits it that way again. To the berm it flies. Go catch it out there, somebody. He's some kind of special, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mentioned the location of Velez's pitches. If you don't locate them well against the guy on your screen right now, he can make you pay. Team leading homer number 8 for number 24 in white, Drew Galassi, and it doesn't get any easier with Noah Childress stepping up to the plate here.
384 feet that, again, carried the berm more so in right center field this time around. First pitch away to Noah Childress. Just every time he comes up there.
It's a show. You cannot take your eyes off the batter's box.
8th home run of the year. 94-mile-an-hour fastball outside.
And the thing about the mentality of Galassi, he has changed it to more line drive, let's make hard contact versus the home run swing. However, it turns into home runs because of that mentality.
Same kind of story for this guy here too in Noah Childress. He tried that launch angle type swing, if you want to classify it as that. But went back to line drive hitting in his last few years at Lords and did a lot of wonders. WAC Player of the Year. 3-0 again, chopped foul. He has 4 home runs to show for it as well. Still no action, further action in the Unicorns bullpen. Maybe Sereno will go out for a 3rd inning of work. He threw 39 pitches the other day. So I guess it wouldn't be out of the equation to see him pitch another 3 here tonight, as long as continues to be a snappy 3 innings. Yeah, 6 up and 6 down thus far with 1 strikeout. Been using his defense quite well. 3-2, punches him out. Big time strikeout for Velez to crawl back from the solo shot. Now Aaron Takis will look to get things back rolling again. He's made his money with the walks more so lately since coming back. 6 for 24. That hamstring injury keeping him out a couple weeks. Takis takes strike 1 at 92.
And you could tell early on the plate discipline, his ability to see pitches was certainly there. Had 3 walks in his first 7 at-bats in addition to 4 hits. The hit numbers have cooled off a little bit, but the eye is certainly still there. And another guy who will make you work as you get down in this lineup, now into the number 6 spot. Donovan Curiel is no easy out in the 7 spot. Depth up and down your lineup, certainly a key note for any team.
The 1-1 in there for strike 2. In terms of walk to strikeout, wasn't a huge story last year. I mean, he only turned in 29 ABs by the end of the year. Some big ones certainly down the stretch, but 2 walks to 7 strikeouts when things were all said and done. Certainly showing he's more of a versatile hitter this year. A guy that showed some major pop in the Pecos League as well before coming over to the USPBL. The kind of stretch run, one of those bats that Jim Essian was able to add that helped his team win another championship. Waiting in the 2-2. Tough pitch. Wipeout slider on the inner half. Is going to go for his second straight strikeout here in the second.
And that's when Velez is at his best. Going to the going to the slider with 2 strikes to get now his 3rd strikeout of the game. But a really lethal pitch against either lefties or righties with 2 strikes so far this season.
Donovan Curiel, 279 average. Looking to get something brewing here with 2 outs. De La Cruz and company have other ideas as they record the 3rd out of the 2nd inning. The solo shot by Drew Galassi. He's got that kind of impact as it's 1-0 Utica here in inning number 2.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
New flooring from the Carpet Guys is as easy as 1, 2, free. 1, just call the Carpet Guys for fast, free, and home shopping. 2, get massive warehouse direct savings. And 3, I mean free, as in 4 years of interest-free financing. That's 1, 2, free, but only for a limited time. So be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS or visit carpetguys.com today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Welcome back, everyone, to Jimmy John's Field. A 1-0 lead for the Utica Unicorns in this one, thanks to Drew Galassi, 383 feet over the berm to right center field here today. You're going to want to get those baseballs if you're fans out there, because Drew Galassi probably won't be playing here much longer.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of doing an interview with him after a game, and fans quickly swarmed him for the autograph. So if it's an autograph, it's a homer, which that may not be the last to the berm in right field. It's something certainly to grab because it could be worth something here in the future.
And that tree, that strip tree that you saw right there is kind of where it landed at the base of it. Those trees are mostly behind some of the barriers here at Jimmy John's Field, just in front of the Clinton River out there. But Miguel Sereno out for a 3rd inning. It's really kind of uncharted territory in terms of what we can expect here today, but you know, we keep guessing wrong at first. We thought maybe it was going to be a 1-by-1 scenario with a 6-inning game here today, because Sereno literally, I mean, we don't exactly know how long he's known he's been starting, but certainly can't be much more than an hour or so. Here's the 1-1 line drive to the gap in right center, but Johnson is there for the first out.
And now 6 contact outs, 1 strikeout for Sereno, so it's been an efficient 2 1/3 innings of work thus far.
His last 5 outings, 40 pitches, 22, 17, 39, and 39 obviously the 3-inning start the other day. There's some stretching happening in the Utica pen right now as De Los Santos Looks at one outside. One 0 away. Certainly this Hoppers lineup missing a big piece. A guy that has led off for them a lot this year, and Juan Lopez Rios with a hand injury. Got hit by a pitch right in the hand the other day in one of those non-public games. 2-0. Slivers inside, the changeup at 83.
And entering the last game these two teams played, Juan Lopez Rios had the highest batting average on this Hoppers team, and
3-0. Grooved in.
A guy with sneaky power at a relatively small stature was also leading the team in hits entering today. 386 batting average on the season, so certainly a piece that you're missing both defensively and offensively today.
The latest news on him is he will be evaluated by a doctor on Tuesday, so no other assumptions can be made at this point. 3-2, swing and a miss. Tailing fastball away from De Los Santos, and the second strikeout for Miguel Sereno. Now Aberrettes will be the last shot, looking for their first hit. Are the Hoppers here in this 6-inning game? Half of their at-bats are gone already. That's how quickly it can kind of snowball on you. First pitch slider, boy.
Gosh, and Sereno is working quickly right now, too. Rhythmatic, out of the windup, infielders behind him. You love playing behind a guy like this because you have to be ready consistently as another pitch comes in.
Another slider. This one poked a bit better to left center. Galassi tracking it easily in front of the warning track for the third out. 9 up and 9 down against Miguel Sereno thus far, as that's your 5th third out of the game, brought to you by 5th Third Bank. We also want to thank Michigan First Credit Union for sponsoring JJ the Water Boy. Bat Boy each came as well. There's JJ enjoying some visiting with fans before the game on the concourse, as he usually is. Down to Chelsea Estes now.
It's time for the DTE Kids Race the Mascot. I got my buddy Drew here, and he's also a fellow Sparty. So, of course, you know, he has that going for him today. All right, Drew is going to race against Landslide. Drew, I do think you're a really fast runner. Okay, so because you are Landslide, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a head start, okay? Just a little one. Then Drew's going to catch up. So, Landslide, on your mark, get set, go. Okay, Drew, go for it. Go, go, go. All right, fans. Drew's starting to pick up some speed. Landslide, hustle, bud. Drew is cruising. Go, bud, go. All right, make some noise as he rounds third. All right, Drew, meet me at home with the fist bump. Yeah, you're going to beat him. Woo! Nice job, bud.
Good stuff there from Drew. He did miss second base, but nobody will call him out for it, right?
No, I don't think so. At the end of the day, he got the job done, and JJ, as per usual, getting the job done.
Happy 4th of July to everyone here today. Ray Leska says Drummond Island says go Unicorns. There you go. Where's Drummond Island again?
Ooh.
I've heard of it. I've never been there. Let's take to the Google here. Drummond Island. You got to zoom way out. It looks like UP, just to the right, kind of the bottom of the UP there.
Probably not a bad place to be this weekend.
Yeah. Sort of by an area that I like to go to, Brimley up there.
Okay.
Ever been up there?
I have not. I need to.
Small town, but you can. They have what's called a scenic byway that you can kind of take all the way to Tequanimon Falls, which is at another tip. Really nice spot if you've never been there either.
Looks gorgeous in the fall.
Yeah, one of our favorites to go up to. Up there in Paradise, Michigan. Literally, that's the name of the town. First pitch. Ball just low, maybe on Jordan Finney. Finney, Hodo, Jones, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up here in the third. Skips past the second base bag and into center field. I don't remember who I was discussing with it earlier, but I know we have a lot of out-of-state listeners. But if you're ever in Michigan, it's not the quickest way to get there for most people, obviously, unless you're over in Wisconsin, kind of crossing the water in separate spots. I guess it connects sort of with Minnesota in spots as well. But the Upper Peninsula is a place to visit, and a spot that most people, I guess, outside of Michigan maybe don't know too much about. Or just up north in general. You start getting, you know, above Traverse City and company, some really good spots. Do you have a favorite spot to visit on a weekend like this? Certainly a lot of people, I'm sure, sprinkled around Michigan.
You know, I do. A few times I've been out to some of the West Michigan cities and in the Grand Rapids area. Those are always nice out by the water. So I have to maybe shift over to that side of the state. I've never been to the UP, though.
Never.
I'd like to get up there. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
1-1, line to left. Greg Vaughn Jr. will see that one dump in. Back-to-back singles against Ricardo Velez to start the third.
And John Hodo has been picking it up of late. Nice level swing path there, connected to the pitch and sent it to left field for back-to-back singles now. Again, bottom third of the order producing for this Utica team, and that's been a key to their success so far offensively.
Anthony Jones has one of the 4 hits so far for this Unicorns team. No hits on the other side for the Hoppers thus far. Turned to second low, and that will cause them to prevent a double play chance. So Finney to third, Jones safe at first with a fielder's choice. Setting up Frankie Luska again, who was fairly frustrated about his at-bat in the first inning. He thought he saw kind of 2 similar pitches in a row, kind of reading, you know, maybe his reaction. But the second one was called strike 3. Luska will actually get a chance to catch in game 2. We saw that a little bit from him last year. That was originally what they were hoping to make Luska position-wise, was a catcher last year. Taylor Jellikowski, the now Mammoth manager, was working hard with him on that as Luska looks at a pitch outside. Jellikowski spent some time at the end of last year as one of the assistant coaches for Jim Essien. Played for him as well when Taylor played in the USPBL. 1-0 again, foul. And Jason still no real action in that Unicorns pen, so maybe we'll see Sereno for a 4th inning, which in a 6-inning game is, I guess, a big deal when you had a guy in Austin Dakar who was scratched late from his start.
And that's what we thought we might see out of Dakar today, who we were hoping the pitch count would get down a little lower for him because he had 93 pitches last Sunday against this Hoppers team. For Sereno, that's been the key to the game so far. Low pitch count. I believe it's 8 contact outs. Beg your pardon, 7 contact outs, 2 strikeouts so far through 9 batters, 9 up and 9 down. And on the note of the guy at the plate right now, you mentioned Frankie Luxka maybe shifting over to the catcher's role in game 2. He told me something that kind of, I think, mirrors his mentality well, is baseball is a game of constantly learning every day and keeping your eye open to what's next. They're looking for a place for him defensively right now. The tools are there offensively, but maybe it's catcher where he settles in.
1-1 is outside. And certainly the catching position, if you can do it well, is a big-time value at the next level.
Especially with a bat like his. When you can do the defensive work behind the dish and then get on base consistently, double whammy there.
Luska ahead in the count again here. Decent lead for Jones over at first. And again, Velez will tip back to him. Single fielder's choice. The line against Ricardo Velez so far here in the 3rd inning. He had scattered just a couple base runners before this inning. The big story overall, the solo shot by Galassi to lead off the second. Here's a line drive hanging up there towards the flagpole in right center. It's chasing Aponte back. He won't get it. Hops 2 steps over the wall, and that will plate probably just 1 run with the ground rule double by Frankie. His 3rd 2-bagger of the year.
Now, Luxka got a nice swing on that pitch. Again, found it over the heart of the plate. Was carrying. You see the flag blowing a bit to right center. And hopped over the fence there to bring home a run on the ground rule double.
Also the 6th RBI of the year, Colby Johnson. Looking to drive in his first runs, both on 2nd and 3rd here in scoring position. You see where Aponte is playing here in right center. Normally kind of where he is, usually more in and over. So it was in a decent spot to try to pick up that ball. It just carried and carried and carried. And from the looks of it, and from how some of the people in the ballpark reacted, it maybe had a chance to sneak out of here as well, taking 1 hop over the warning track and out.
Definitely drew a nice crowd reaction. And Jeremy, you were here last night, one of the better crowds of the season so far. That's backed up today, and expecting a good one tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, it's been a bit more of a slow arriving one here today. Kreitzer bobbles, and everybody's safe. And they call him out over at first base.
It was close.
Anthony Jones will score. Colby Johnson gets his first RBI. Try to get a second look at our YouTube monitor here. It looks like he was safe. But now Drew Galassi will step to the plate with a runner on 3rd base and 2 outs. Look at that, an intentional walk. First time we've seen that so far this year. It might not be the last time. Well, when you start getting intentional walks in indie ball, I think that's a sign that you might have grown out of it.
That's interesting, too, with 2 outs here. Galassi certainly building up a reputation and adding on to that already quite prolific resume back in the 2nd inning with the solo homer.
That shows you we're not overhyping it.
No.
Swing and a miss on the first pitch slider there. That one a bit harder than what we've seen lately. Aaron Takis, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. If this inning continues, already feels like a really big lead to this point with 2 more runs in here in the 3rd. Back-to-back sliders. That one at 81 remains outside. Childress, decent battle with Velez. Both him and Takis the same. They both ended up striking out after the solo shot to right by Galassi. The sun really screaming itself out here. Been a pretty bright day in general. 1-1 on the ground up the middle. That might do the job. It will. Another run around to score. Trying to go first to 3rd is Galassi, swimming his way through. 4-0 Unicorns.
The aggressive base running, 2-out hitting. Again, 2 keys to success for Utica so far this season. They have really done some 2-out damage when they get to the 3, 4, or 5 hitters. Despite the departure of Ari Sakopoulos, that has not changed. That's a wonderful 4-5 punch with Galassi and Childress, and it's showing again today.
First pitch to Takis. Line drive to the gap in right center field, and that one just going to bounce up against the wall. He hit it well. Galassi easily scores. Childress chugging around 3rd base, and he will make his way home as well. Aaron Takis with RBIs, 4 and 5 on the year. His second extra base hit, both of them doubles. And the Unicorns flexing their muscles here in the third inning.
And you wonder what the mentality of Velez is like right now. This has easily been his roughest start of the season. You noted in our open, had only allowed 1 earned run entering today, but really getting knocked around here with 2 outs. The struggles to stay efficient, got it started last Sunday, and now probably not locating his pitches where he would like, because we have not seen this yet so far against him, and the command has been stellar up until this point.
Unicorns batting around here in the third inning. First pitch to Curial is away, 1-0. 6 runs off 7 hits and no errors. No runs off, no hits and no errors on the other end for the Hoppers thus far today. Now the 1-0. Fastball at 90 outside. Just kind of finish a point that we were touching on earlier. He touched on the crowd we had yesterday. The grandstands, certainly the fullest we have seen so far. Not too many seats to be had. It's starting to look like by the start of game 2, that could be the case here today. Doubleheaders, usually the crowds kind of trickle in as the day goes on. 5:30 start here today. I think to be exact, 5:27 was first pitch, but now we're on 6:14, so in a normal 7 o'clock game, gates would have just opened 15 minutes ago.
And another 3-0 count here, Jeremy, so.
High. The fastball at 88, he's lost a bit of juice there as they will completely bat around and send Jordan Finney to the plate for the second time.
Yeah, 4 walks on Sunday, which was a season high at the time for Velez. The intentional walk earlier in this inning. Obviously, Galassi's a guy with a red-hot bat. You had Childress up next, so it was an interesting decision there, but now there is apparently movement taking place in the Hoppers' pen as they try to settle down.
Yep. And Jason, I know you're, you've kept score before, but you're still, kind of learning to do it as you call games. So this is where it gets messy.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on in this particular inning, especially now you start to bat around, and
the lucky thing is we're not playing 9 today.
No.
So if you really wanted to, you can just cross them all out, which is kind of what I did.
The Utica lineup can do that to you, Jeremy.
First pitch to Finney. Slider in there for strike 1. There are 2 outs, as you see on the screen. John Hodo would be next if this inning continues. Still no action in the Unicorns' pen. Keep in mind they've already played twice this week, so that's 4 games in a week, not something normally the case in the USPBL. Fly ball hanging up there in left center. Greg Vaughn Jr. will emphatically squeeze the 3rd out here in the 3rd inning. What an inning, one of the better ones we've seen in the USPBL this year. 10 men come to the plate. 5 more runs scratch across at 6-0 Utica Unicorns.
Only at your Chevrolet certified service dealer do you get tires engineered specifically for your vehicle and a price match guarantee.
With our tire price match guarantee, if you find a better price within 30 days of purchase, we'll refund the difference. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward, not by setting records, but by never giving up. keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Well, what do you know? Miguel Sereno out there for his 4th inning of work. And why not? He's been very efficient in what has quickly become a spot start that was identified today. Not just a spot start out of the, quote, rotation, but unsure at what point he knew he was starting. But I wouldn't say it's a total curveball for a guy who is coming out of the bullpen. Obviously, they have their own routines as well, and nobody expects to come in to start a game, but it makes it a bit easier. Did kind of convert to the bullpen this year. Started as a starter in the USPBL, but did get a start the other day in the non-public game. This Hoppers offense has some major work to do. Already half of their at-bats gone in this 6-inning game. It's Ben McConnell, Adam De La Cruz, and Pedro Castellano, your Zach Hart agency 3 men due up here in the 4th on 90s night. Did a little Macarena. I didn't, but the people in the stands did in between innings there.
That's a dance I learned how to do fairly recently.
Okay.
Not saying I'm good at it.
This one floating its way down past the diving arms of Galassi. McConnell scrambling his way to seconds.
That's just what I guess the doctor ordered there if you're thinking about the Hoppers lineup after, as you noted, it was 9 up, 9 down through 3 innings. And now McConnell with the leadoff double in a spot where we would typically see Juan Lopez Rios. So you bring up De La Cruz and Castellano, get to Vaughn Jr., who's shown some pop in the bat so far this season and against this Utica pitching staff in particular. So that feels like a very important leadoff double for McConnell.
And he's quietly becoming a guy, one of the fresher faces that we've seen in terms of coming here later. They could make some noise. 8 for 21. He's already had 3 stolen bases to his credit.
Yeah, you talk to people about Ben McConnell, and they'll instantly say, I love the bat, quick hands, and a wonderful lefty.
That went in for strike 1, coming over from Kaiser University, one of the powers in the NAIA this year. Slugged .511 there. Haven't really seen that power translate quite yet. 1-1 slider away. 2-1 on Adam De La Cruz. But certainly the stolen bases, which he's already made his mark on a bit here. He had 31 at Kaiser this year. Fastball high at 92, 3-1. And location hasn't really been a problem here today for Sereno. And even hearing what some people around the league said about his start on Thursday as well, he located pretty well. Missing in quite a few pitches to start the 4th as this one climbs back in for strike 2. De La Cruz has seen back-to-back full counts in his 2 at-bats today, and this one results in a K. That's the 3rd strikeout for Miguel Sereno, and after 5 straight outs, all of contact, weak contact albeit. He's worked 1 every inning now. McConnell and the Hoppers really hoping that somebody can drive them in here with all the success the Unicorns have had offensively. 5 more runs on the board in the bottom of the 3rd inning. If you're just tuning in, 10 batters came to the plate. Aaron Takis with a 2 RBI double. Frankie Luska with an RBI double. An intentional walk to Drew Galassi as well, after he had a solo shot earlier. And you wonder how much more we'll see that if Drew Galassi continues to play in the USPBL.
Castellano in the batter's box right now. Dating back to his college days, a guy who you would associate with driving home runners in scoring position. I mean, he's another power type of hitter, had 10 doubles and 10 homers his senior year at Southeastern University down in Lakeland, Florida. And just one out still here.
Fought that one, just fouled on the right field line. I believe that is Zach Jones warming up now in the bullpen for the Unicorns. Talk about fresh faces. He's another from the tryout a couple weeks ago. Castellano, Greg Vaughn Jr., Nick Kreitzer represent the beginning of the middle of the order here today for Paul Noce. Brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. The 1-2 pumped it to left this time, hanging up and carrying all of a sudden on Anthony Jones. And that will allow Ben McConnell to speed his way to third. Interesting how that one did carry, huh? At first off the bat, it just looked like it was going to loop its way into the air, into the glove of Jones. But and the wind really not blowing at all or in that direction. Flag fairly limp now. It's been on and off throughout this game so far here today.
We've seen balls carrying a few times to left field as well so far this season. Balls that may not look like they're going to go, just kind of keep taking their way out to that particular area and over the fence.
1-0 to Greg Vaughn Jr., low and away. 2-0. Something interesting I dug up on Greg Vaughn Jr. He pulls the ball just 6% of the time this year. 56% of his balls up the middle. 1-0 outside, and that leaves 37% to the opposite field. And for a guy with some power and some line drive ability, kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I spoke to Greg Vaughn Jr. after last Sunday's win when he had the go-ahead RBI double in the top of the seventh of a 7-inning game. It doesn't really overthink the process too much. Just very smooth in his approach. Good plate discipline, as we see there, with the walk, which is something else he can do at a high rate. He told me that I really just want to go up there, put a good swing on it, and whatever happens after that happens. So that's his mentality day in and day out, and it's paying dividends of late.
Nick Kreitzer, it's a spot for him to do some damage here. One swing of the bat could cut this lead in half. That one in for strike one.
Kreitzer hits from a good square stance, kind of a line drive swing plane, has the power when he does access it well.
Loops that one over the pitcher's mound. Could be a tough play here. Curiel throws to first. Any other runner, that could be trouble for the Unicorns defense. Sereno sees the first base runners and first hit reach here in this one, but nothing scathed after it.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better, which means we put 166.7% into everything we do.
I think you can only give 110%.
Well, with free checking, fraud protection services, and an automatic savings tool to help you quickly reach your goals, 166.7% is possible.
Oh, wait till my 8th graders hear about this. They're gonna be like, it's not possible. Well, yes it is.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
Welcome back to the USPBL Network. A look at Carson Ferry, the left-hander who takes over in relief of Ricardo Velez, who had some trouble in that third inning. The Utica order batted around and resulted in what we currently have on the board, which is the 6-0 lead for the Unicorns. Ferry features the two-seam curve and change-up, after Sereno was able to leave one stranded in scoring position. This Utica team hoping to back up what they did in that third inning of work, down at the bottom of their lineup with John Hodo stepping up to the plate to lead things off.
Ten-batter inning, 5 runs driven in. 5 hits, 1 walk, intentionally, the other one unintentional, as Hodo takes a fastball inside at 89. Ferry, the only lefty available for the Hoppers. They have one of the more stacked available arms, just based off availability. Not even looking at, what these guys can do. A lot of starters, so there's versatility there as well. 1-1. Check to swing. Did he go? Yes, says the appeal down to first base.
There is one of the 3 lefties in the Game 1 lineup for the Utica Unicorns due up in this inning. That'll be Frankie Luxka, who has the DH role today. Hodo with that single back in the third. Again, showcasing the depth of this lineup.
Hodo not happy with the backwards K there, as he thought it was outside. 1 up and 1 down here in the 4th. And the 3rd strikeout combined in between Velez and Ferry now. So again, if you're just tuning in, a 6-inning doubleheader each game, but a half hour in between games. You never want to see a team bet around if you're the Hoppers, but I guess you're happy that Velez, in that effort, still got through 3 innings of work. Fastball in for strike 1.
And that's something we've talked about, right, Jeremy, is examining how pitchers respond to adversity, because Ricardo Velez, as you mentioned, only had 1 earned run on the season entering today. So just flat out different territory than what he's experienced so far this year. And it's something that naturally as a starter you're going to go through the ups and downs of professional baseball. Velez was an NAIA All-American this season. But this is kind of a different step up when it comes to the consistency of hitters that you'll face.
The 1-2, swing and a miss. Pulled the string there for the second out, both on strikeouts. The walks recently have been a bit of an issue for Carson Ferry. He has 8 walks to just 5 strikeouts, make it 6 actually, in his last 3 games. It was after 2 straight outings without walking a guy. Both were less than an inning. Looping curveball in for strike 1.
Luxka was due for a hit, as they like to say, his last time up to bat. After I mentioned the rare 0 for 3 against this lineup last Sunday, we had the non-public games this week as well, but in front of fans, I guess I should say, he was due for a hit.
0-2. That's one way to put your day back in order a bit, is get a strikeout. Oh, 2 away, 1-2. Strike out of the side is what I meant to say. Still got a tough hitter to do that against, though, here. Did strike out back in the first. Only his 10th of the year compared to 15 walks. Ponte shading him to the left side of second base and center as that one loops out of play, 2-2.
One of the lowest swinging strike percentages that you'll find. Exceptionally low chase rate as well. Just sees the ball out of the pitcher's hand well, picks up spin.
Two, swing and a miss. Boy, Carson Ferry comes in and slams the door. After the 10-batter inning, he strikes out the side. Real solid stuff here today. For the past 35 years, Bell's Brewery has been inspired to brew beers that you can count on, just not for taste, but quality. From Two Hearted Ale to Oberon to new classics, Official Hazy IPA, or the easy drinking Golden Ale, Bell's has brewed inspired beers since 1985. Bell's Brewery, Comstock, Michigan. Please drink responsibly. More after this on the USPBL Network.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Back-to-back pitching changes for these two teams here in the later innings of this first game. Zach Jones will throw here in place of Miguel Sereno. You talk about showing some adversity. Sereno had none of that. Through the first 3 innings, he struck out 2 and used his defense really well, 9 up and 9 down. We saw a leadoff double by Ben McConnell. He then got Adam De La Cruz to strike out looking. A long pop out by Castellano signaled 2 quick outs. So the walk off the at-bat of Greg Vaughn Jr. and the ground out ended it without any runs scored. And Jones will look to take the torch here in the 5th inning, Jason.
Zach Jones is one of the new pitchers we spoke with last week. What impressed me about Jones right off the bat was when he told us that he didn't know about the DVS system entering the USPBL, but was wide open to learning about it and making any adjustments that could potentially help him elevate his career. So earned a spot after the tryout just a couple of weeks ago, and now is coming in relief.
91-mile-an-hour fastball spoiled away there.
You can expect to see the two-seam anywhere from 90 to 91, slider, change up from about 80 to 84 miles per hour. Working on his curveball, but still an improving pitch. Fastball touched 90, 91 during the tryout I mentioned.
0-1 in for strike 2.
And getting back to that impressive mentality, he told us that if you're not coachable, then you're not going to be able to learn. And that's a wonderful mentality to have as a pitcher.
He's got that little hesitation in his motion as well. Big high leg kick.
Yeah, he said, I've never been one to shape delivery after other pitchers. Everyone is different when it comes to delivery, but it's about being comfortable in baseball, whether you're on the mound or in the batter's box.
0-2, little flubber right into the arms of John Hodo. 1 up and 1 down in the 5th for Jones. Dugan Darnell, somebody that had an impact on Zach Jones. They played with each other briefly in the Northwoods League, which is a league kind of familiar to this area. Several teams in the Northwoods around. Kalamazoo has one. Battle Creek Bombers as well. Traverse City Pit Spitters also playing in the Northwoods League up north as Jason Aponte swings and misses on that one. But Dugan Darnell, of course, doing a really nice job with the Colorado Rockies organization now. Pitched in the USPBL last year. Scurrying to Hodo. 2 to him and 2 outs. Also recognizing Nolan Clenny in between innings here at the ballpark. Another guy that pitched in the USPBL last year for the Unicorns, was their closer. Lockdown at the end of games for Jim Essien. He's moving out of the Mets organization.
Yeah, that was really neat to see with that news breaking last weekend and the pitchers out of this Utica staff over the years.
1-0 clubbed into the glove of Takis. Heaves up, throws to first, bounces past Childress, taking a long turn around the first base bag is De Los Santos as he chugs to second with 2 outs here.
A long throw there after a nice stab in the dirt from Takis, but the ball just kind of hopped over the glove of Childress, who's back over at first base today. Leads to an extra bag here.
They have not ruled it either way on the board. Now they have. It's an error against the Unicorns. It's a tough error considering that Takis had to dive, but still, I mean, he makes the out if that throw is strong and on target over to first. Felix Abaretz looking to take advantage of this inning being extended here. First pitch changeup in on the hands as he fouls it back. Abaretz flew out to center field back in the 3rd inning. That was on a 0-1 pitch. So Zach Jones trying to erase the error here. Get right back out of this inning in line with what his team and pitching has done so far here tonight. The 0-2 swing and just the slightest of taps fouls off the slider there.
Similar situation for this Hoppers lineup here. 2 outs, runner at second. Getting down to the dwindling stages of this game. You have 6 outs left after this inning with which to work. 7 outs total left in this 6-inning game. So Utica's done practically all of their damage with 2 outs. We'll see if the Hoppers can maybe find some magic of their own here.
De Los Santos takes a hearty lead at second base with 2 outs. Jones stares at him for a brief second and says, let's hold things up a bit. Here's the 0-2 swing and a miss. Good job by Jones. Pop out, ground out, air, and then a strikeout to 6 through 9 in the order and holds this game right where it is at 6-0 in favor of the Unicorns. Well, you could win $250. Everybody wants that, right? And 4 front row tickets to the USPBL Championship game in September. Text Chevy Detroit right now to 555-888. Again, that's Chevy Detroit to 555-888. You can visit ChevyDetroit.com/USPBL for all the official rules of that contest. Carson Ferry back on the mound for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, but before him, we'll have our Chevy cars here today, all coming out a bit early here today out of the gate in left field, and now they're given the go-ahead to start. Bella Air gets a late start, and Bella Air is errant along the warning track down the left field line. I don't know what she's doing here today. Petey pickup along the backside, and we have, wow, look at that. Out of nowhere, swinging his way around down the first base line. Showing up the Chevy cars here today. Bella Air was able to scoot in after the fact. But other than that, that's your Mention to Trade Chevy Dealers mascot race here tonight. Back with more after this on the USPBL Network.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Now, both relievers here tonight doing a good job. Carson Ferry maybe one-upping so far here today as he struck out the side in the fourth after what was a much-needed quick inning, 10-batter inning in the third for this Unicorns offense. And it just had the feel today, and I'm sure it kind of feels like that because there's not a lot of breaks in this Unicorns lineup, but look at what you have here. Again, 3, 4, 5 due up. Colby Johnson, Drew Galassi, and Noah Childress, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency.
Just seems like they're always coming at you, doesn't it?
It does.
3, 4, 5 of the Utica lineup. Life, death, taxes.
Yep.
And the 3, 4, 5 of the Utica lineup.
Home runs for Drew Galassi unless they intentional walk him. He has 8 of them so far this year. Another tape measure moonshot to right center the last time up when they pitched to him in the second. 383 feet that carried the right field berm. Colby Johnson jumping out of his shoes to try to hit that 89-mile-an-hour two-seamer. So between RBIs and actual runs scored, the lineup here today is accounted for 5 of the 6 Utica runs tonight. Jordan Finney is the only man outside of Luskett and Jones to score. Colby Johnson checking where that last pitch was. Thinking it might have been a little high. 2-2 on the right fielder here today for Jim Essien. They shift him slightly to the right. Greg Vaughn Jr. way off the line in left field. Strike 3. Breaking ball snaps in at 76, and that's 4 up, 4 down, 4 strikeouts for Carson Ferry. His first, since his first looking. And the fans, I don't know if that's just regular fans in attendance or some family or combined, but they've got the Drew going when Galassi comes to the plate. 2 runs scored, one of his own variety with the solo shot. Also came around to score on the intentional walk back in the third.
Looks like they'll face him this time.
Big swing and a miss.
Swings at the first pitch again, as he usually does.
And the guys pointed out something interesting here in between at bats. All 7 of Galassi's home runs are against righties so far this year, hitting just 200 against lefties so far. 0-1, slices just low, the fastball at 92. Now, given he's only had 10 at-bats versus lefties, but still, 3 strikeouts versus lefties, only 4 versus righties, and he has 34 at-bats versus righties now. That one lifted foul. So overall, he's not even to 50 at bats. So his homer numbers even more impressive given that when you really think about it. Looks very loose out there, chokes up a bit on the bat here with 2 strikes as well. The 1-2, fastball that got away.
What's also impressive about the power for Galassi, and you mentioned there, Jeremy, 2 strikes, is that he doesn't have any stride in his swing with the front foot. However, still maintains that power and really utilizes his hips well.
That last fastball at 94.5, that's by far a season high for Ferry, trying to ramp up against his power hitter. Castellano bobbled, Galassi hustling, and just nipping him over at first thanks to the mini scoop by Kreitzer.
Castellano did well to recover there after needing to knock that ball down. I don't think it's what he wanted to do, but stayed in front of it and delivered in time to first.
Here's Noah Childress now. He had an RBI single back in the 3rd inning, also struck out in the 2nd. It was the 10th RBI of the year for Childress. Guy who's also slugging above 500 coming into play tonight. 4 homers to his credit. We're nearing the 7 o'clock hour, 6:50 Eastern time here in Utica, Michigan. Had a 5:27 first pitch. Fastball at 90 in for strike 1.
Not a cloud in the sky today, Jeremy. Just such a beautiful 4th of July weekend for baseball. So pumped for tomorrow. And good matchup tonight as well.
The 1-1 in the dirt. Is it you and Jen on the call tomorrow?
Yep, West Side versus the Beavers once again tomorrow. That was a fun one last night that you had the pleasure of calling. A 6-5 win after the 4-run 6th inning for the Beavers to come back and pull that off. We now have back-to-back games in the USPBL that have been decided by 1 run. This one heading in a different direction potentially, but still 3 outs. I should say, 6 outs to work with for the Hoppers lineup. I beg your pardon, 3 outs left for the Hoppers lineup to work with to potentially pull off some magic.
Yeah, the line yesterday for Malik Barrington, though, we thought that, kind of going into that matchup, it could be an outright pitcher's duel with Barrington and Hicks, 2 of the highly regarded pitchers, throwing against each other once again. Here's the 3-1. Chop to the right. Castellano makes this one look a bit easier as Carson Ferry retires the side for the 2nd straight inning. 4 strikeouts, 6 up and 6 down combined for Ferry so far. Well, in a 6-inning game, you do the 5th inning stretch, and that's what we have right here, right now, brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here today. It's time for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Here we go. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Easily top 5 performance.
There we go. 7th inning stretch, 5th inning stretch, whatever it is, brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here today. Back with more after this.
There's nothing
here on the
better than a ball
Network.
game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Zach Jones back out there for his 2nd inning of work here in the 6th inning, trying to keep this lead right where it is, and this is it theoretically, unless the Hoppers come back with 6 runs in this top half of the 6th. 2 6-inning contests. The scheduled starters, you wouldn't necessarily think it would change. Definitely not on the Hoppers' end, but because of what we've seen, kind of things shaken up with Austin Dakar supposed to start in game 1. It's Greg Shanahan and Pierce Banks set to go against each other. Pitchers used just 2 here for the Unicorns, Sereno and Jones.
Entering today, Utica, as they did throughout the entirety of last season, lowest combined team ERA in the USPBL. And sorry, Jeremy.
Oh, you're good. Jordan Carr, the only guy believed to be unavailable coming into play here today. And with Jones throwing 2, probably won't come out there again in a 6-inning game for a second outing in a row in this doubleheader. So that leaves, obviously, Shanahan due to start. Brandon Krenrich, who I'm sure would like to shake off his last appearance. And Jack Ferguson as well, who pitched 2 innings of no-hit baseball, I believe, the other day. For sure, no runs. Couple strikeouts for Jack in one of those non-public games. The 2-2 away.
McConnell with the only hit today off this Utica pitching staff, a double back in the 4th.
Here's the 3-2, again whittled back. Isn't it refreshing to see the bright sunny skies here today on a doubleheader day?
It certainly is, Jeremy. I mean, it's, as I mentioned, such a wonderful day. I got my grill going earlier.
Yeah, what do you got today?
Oh, well, I don't just go chicken sausage. I go even a little deeper. I got the chicken apple sausage going today, Jeremy.
All right, I'm looking forward to that.
Chicken strips as well.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, I fired it up this morning. And it's my thing around this time of the year.
Well, I certainly appreciate it on these doubleheader days as well. Brought some snacks before game 1, but those are expounded now.
Mm-hmm. Doubleheader fuel.
First pitch to De La Cruz. Breaking ball up high. 1-0. Sereno, 4 strong innings here today. Gave up just a double and a walk. 9 straight retired, including 2 strikeouts to begin his outing. 3 in total before departing after a ground out to Kreitzer after the 4th. Jones came on to replace him to begin the 5th as he tries to slam the door shut on this game here today. Ball up high. Jones, a guy, bounced around a bit in college ball. Rockford University, a Division III school for a number of years, and then moved on up to Division I ball, played at the Citadel. Is a native of Rockford, Illinois overall.
Told us that he's felt very confident over the past couple of weeks. Said the confidence level after tryouts was high heading into his first appearance, and this is kind of the first time we've seen him getting length out of the pen to potentially close a game out here.
Yeah, and he said, Jason, even much so, he didn't even necessarily know where that confidence came from. Because you look at his college numbers from 2021 at Citadel, they weren't probably where he wanted them to be. Very high and elevated ERA, but said he wasn't really nervous in that first outing. Went out there and just did his thing, and looking pretty good again here tonight, despite the one-out walk in the 6th inning. The only other blemish, the base runner to De Los Santos because of the air, and that was a really nice diving stop by Aaron Takis, who bounced to throw. It was a tough play for a first baseman of any variety. On the short hop to Noah Childress over there. The throw coming in probably as hard as it will, just as you try to get as much on it with your momentum carrying you the opposite direction. And in the end, De Los Santos ended up on second base, but Jones did his job and struck out Aberrett to end the inning. 2-0, gonna hang up there maybe in foul territory. Takis taking a look out of his reach and out of play.
And back-to-back 2-0 counts here prior to the contact there to make it now 2-1 on Castellano. And you mentioned Jones's journey. He was actually on the brink of beginning to maybe delve into what's called Tread, which is actually a pitching development company that builds custom training and throwing plans to help pitchers increase velocity and performance, but found the opportunity here and hoping to take it in stride.
2-1, swing and a miss, fastball at 90. Well, stick around after the game. Jenna Rose will talk with our player of the game in our Autolab post-game show. And we'll have game 2 of our doubleheader coming up shortly as well. The 2-2 popped him up. This one barely going to reach the outfield. Galassi records the second out. Now Greg Vaughn Jr., the last shot here in the 6th. He walked in the 4th, his 12th of the year. Those shadows certainly starting to play a big factor on the hitters. Something at times we do see when the 7 p.m. games start. We have hit exactly 7 o'clock right now. First pitch fastball outside. That walk was a 4-pitch walk to Miguel Sereno, the only walk he surrendered in his 4-inning start here tonight. 1-0 is high. Brandon Krenrich has began to lightly toss here. Saw him very early on as well when Miguel Sereno was out there. And it looks like Greg Shanahan also going through the motions down there as he is the scheduled starter in game 2. Not that much of a time in between games, so not unlikely to see him out there. And there's a quick out to end the 6th inning. First game of the doubleheader, won by the Unicorns here tonight, and a big reason why was their big-time 10-batter, 5-run 3rd inning that featured a couple huge doubles, both by Frankie Luska and Aaron Takis. I guess the overall reason they won, though, again, is thanks to Drew Galassi. He's had quite a 3-game stretch. That's now 5, 6, 7 RBIs in 3 games, 3 home runs as well. Really making his stamp on the USPBL as he hits his 8th bomb this year. More after this on the USPBL Network.
If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorn. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you. If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time
pitched on Thursday. You got the call today, but you rallied and you had obviously a great outing. So just talk about your outing out there today.
Well, definitely was tiring, we
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business.
We had like
We're
10
part of your
minutes and
community. At
our manager Skip said,
FSBcares.com,
"Hey, are you ready
you'll
to
find
go?" And
ways
I'm
that
like,
we're making a
let's go, man.
difference by
My team
featuring
needs me,
locally
and I'm
owned
here.
and operated businesses.
Your team rallied
providing
against behind you. You guys
access
did a
to
great
helpful
job. So
financial
obviously going off of that,
resources
the
and
unicorns are
engaging
really
with
the team
community.
to beat. You guys have a winning record
FSB
overall against the
Cares.com
Hoppers.
is
You guys
part
have
of
an
our
overall winning
commitment
record
to
so
the
far
neighborhood.
with all the teams.
Because
So
strong
what's the
neighbors
unicorn
mean
secret?
stronger communities.
It's a secret, A magician never told his secret.
Member
so
FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
It's a secret, Johnny.
Your neighbor
All
who
right,
works
back
at
to
Ascension,
Super C
Michigan,
player of the game. We got
and a
Miguel
cardiologist
Serrano.
who's
Fantastic.
practiced for more than
Johnny,
20
back
years.
to you.
I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
The Carpet Guys give you warehouse direct pricing that will knock your socks off.
Now at the Carpet Guys, you get 4 years interest-free financing.
Let the Carpet Guys bring the store to your door with prices that will knock your socks off. Be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms, and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
We're joined by right-hander Miguel Serrano, who is our Auto Lab player of the game. 4 innings of work, striking out 3, only walking 1, but we have to dial it back. Right-hander Austin Dakar was slated to start the game. How soon did you find out that you were going to take the mound?
It was like 5 minutes before the game started. I was not ready, I'm not gonna lie.
Walk us through the process of getting ready for a game, especially when you're only notified only 5 minutes beforehand.
I mean, just pray to God that everything goes well and then just keep your routine going, you know. I know I have a routine and I couldn't even get way through it. But I mean, it just happened, you know. You gotta get ready mentally and you gotta have a heart to be that guy.
You seemed very calm and collected while you were out on the mound. You retired the first 9 batters that the Hoppers sent to the plate. What was working for you?
I mean, today I don't know, I was just ready to go. I say, I have it all. I'm confident in myself. Let's go get it.
Yeah, so then all of your pitches were locating, same with velocity?
Yeah, everything was locating well today, thankfully, and we got it. I'm proud of myself and my team. They backed me up, so that helped a lot.
Yes, and speaking of them backing you up, they were able to tally 5 runs in the 3rd inning. What does that mean to you as a pitcher to know that your team always has your back, both defensively and offensively?
That is an amazing thing, because, they will back you up, and you can go out there confident that no matter what happens, they have your back. That's the best thing that can happen to a pitcher.
And you guys are only working through 6 innings for the doubleheaders. As a team collectively, what are you hoping to improve on heading into the next game?
Just keep throwing and working on my stamina a little better. I was tired, but I mean, my pitches were there, changeup, fastball was there, so let's just keep it up.
All right, Well, thank you for your time, Miguel. Great work today. All right, stick around for game 2, the doubleheader.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth, and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Remember that diving catch I had out in center? The one running in over shortstop, kinda? Yeah, but still not as cool as my home run.
Beat that. Got a pair of Randy Dubmax.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Yeah, people think being a player is all fun and games, but I mean I can't even get into the stadium. Being a unicorn is a lot more work than you think. Horns up, horns out. This is unicorns.
Wake up early in the morning, and when I come home at night, everything is covered in darkness, and the sun is out of sight. I guess I'm living in the dark age.
Happy birthday, dear Drew. Dear Money Drew. Happy birthday to you.
All right, cut. Perfect.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field, everyone. 6-0, the Utica Unicorns win in Game 1. Certainly the story was Miguel Sereno, as we had a chance to catch up with him, not really knowing he was going to start this game until 5 or 10 minutes before. Austin Dakar, a late scratch. He pitches 4 innings here today after following up 3 innings on Thursday. 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk to 3 strikeouts. Velez, on the other end, his line really doesn't, I guess, communicate how well he started in this game as well. 3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. 5 of those 6 earned runs in the big 3rd inning where the Unicorns really opened up a can on the runs. Frankie Luska with the RBI double. 2 RBI double for Aaron Takis as well. Jones, Luska, Johnson, Galassi, Childress, and Finney all scoring in that inning as well. Greg Shanahan set to start in Game 2. He'll go against Pierce Banks. More on them when we get back here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better. With free checking and fraud protection services, 166.7% is possible.
166.7.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Don't stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. No stopping, no stopping.
hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA councils.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
As they jam out to NSYNC here at the ballpark at 90s night, we welcome you back, getting ready for Game 2 of this 6-inning doubleheader here today. Time to take a peek at your lineups for tonight's game, Game 2 that is, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. First, for the visiting Eastside Diamond Hoppers, it's Ben McConnell leading it off for the second consecutive game. Adam De La Cruz smack dab at the number 2 spots for the second consecutive game as well. It's Castellano, Vaughn Jr., and Kreitzer in the middle of the lineup. Aponte, Rainey, and De Los Santos, and Will Krushina will get the start at first base and the bottom of the lineup here today in Game 2. Swinging over to the Unicorns side of things, they will see Anthony Jones lead it off once again and play left. Frankie Leska, that second, and catches for the first time this year. Colby Johnson, Drew Galassi, Noah Childress hitting 3, 4, 5. Aaron Tack is following. Donovan Curiel back at shortstop again. Malik Blaze into the lineup here in Game 2. He'll play third. And John Hodo again rounding out the order, batting ninth and playing second base. First pitch quickly approaching. Game 2 of this doubleheader here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
believe the teams can defeat us. You on the sideline, warming up the benches. Need a lesson, I can show you, I can teach ya. You see a diamond hopper fan, point 'em out. Ayy, fly ball, catch a frog, walk it out. Ayy, every time we score, I'm throwing up my diamond. Both hands in the air, same timing. Let's rock. Diamond hoppers, Eastside diamond hoppers. Diamond hoppers, we the Eastside diamond hoppers. Diamond hoppers, Eastside diamond hoppers. Diamond hoppers, we the Eastside diamond hoppers. Diamond hoppers, diamond hoppers, we the diamond hoppers. Diamond hoppers, diamond hoppers. Diamond hoppers, we the Eastside diamond hoppers.
If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me, it ain't no competition, not even from you. If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we're unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me, it ain't no competition, not even from you.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA councils.
The Carpet Guys give you warehouse direct pricing that will knock your socks off.
Now at the Carpet Guys, you get 4 years interest-free financing.
Let the Carpet Guys bring the store to your door with prices that will knock your socks off. Be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team. And we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field, everyone. Time to take a look at your pitcher comparison brought to you by Ascension here tonight. Greg Shanahan, you see warming up there. He will go against Pierce Spanks here tonight. Greg Shanahan, we promise, is the scheduled starter here in game number 2. Had a chance to catch up with Miguel Sereno in between games. He knew for about 5 minutes that
he found out with us.
He was starting that game, and Jim Essien looked at all the pitchers and said, "Who wants the ball?" And Miguel said, "Me. I do," despite the fact that I just threw on Thursday. First pitch of game 2 is high at 7:31.
And Sereno's arsenal, the ability to induce soft contact, really catered to the fact that it was a start on very short notice today, because he was able to smoothly glide through despite having pitched just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and he thought Max, he was going to throw like 1 inning here today, and he goes out and throws 4. So that's 7 now in a matter of 3 days. 2-0 is away. The fastball at 89. It's a fastball that's topped out at 93 so far this year for Shanahan, both a 4-seam and a 2-seam. Slider and a changeup to couple his other 2 pitches with.
Yeah, 4-seam, slider, 2-seam, and changeup for the Jacksonville, Florida native. First start of the season. An interesting role to him that he's done in the past, but not yet this season.
Adam De La Cruz hitting second for the second consecutive game. Walked, struck out, and popped up in game number 1. With him and McConnell hitting at the top of Paul Nochi's order. If you're just tuning in, one of the guys who normally hits either 1 or 2 for the Hoppers, Juan Lopez Rios, is out for the foreseeable future. He is heading to the doctor on Tuesday to check out what hopefully is not a broken hand. He did get hit flush in the hand in one of those non-public games before we started play yesterday in front of fans here at the USPBL. And if you're wondering why that was the case, those were actually very common before last year, the COVID year, but just an opportunity to get more games than usually. But in this case, it was an opportunity to make up 2 rained-out games, one of them being a doubleheader a couple weeks back, and the other from Friday's game, torrential downpours. They got, I think, every one of my possessions wet, walking, running, whatever we were doing, splashing back to the car together.
Yeah, we swam back to the car together. Underneath my umbrella had a, that wasn't the best scenario in the world. But
and unfortunately, I had not opened my Diamond Hoppers binder fully until today. I knew it was in rough shape. 2-0 is in there for strike 1. But things were still wet. Like, how is that even possible? And it didn't smell. Just mostly papers and stuff. But, like, are you kidding me? This is last Friday. Over a week.
Your shoes dry yet?
Because of a hairdryer. This one in for strike 2 is Ben McConnell swipes his fourth bag. Yeah, hair dryer for the shoes, and then I also just completely washed my backpack. It needed it anyway, so it gave me an excuse to empty everything out and just throw it in the wash. It held up fine. Here's the 2-2. Slider that's pounded back.
You mentioned now no Juan Lopez Rios for a second consecutive game here in the Hoppers lineup. You examine game one, just a couple of chances with runners at second base. Didn't capitalize on either of them, obviously, but a Hoppers team that was shut out for the first time all season in game one. Just a few times they've scored less than 2 runs. So early opportunity here.
2-2 again is spoiled off. Pedro Castellano, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. Too long at bats for Greg Shanahan as his pitch count is already up to 9 and has not recorded an out yet here in the first. First start of the year for Greg.
5 starts last season and 13 appearances. Came out of the bullpen quite a bit in college at Jacksonville University. Guy who went through Tommy John surgery and has battled his way back from that. Very calm demeanor off the mound. We'll see if he can stay calm here in this early scenario with runner at scoring position.
The 3-2 now. Slider got him to bite for the first down here in the first.
It's a good energy boost for Shanahan. The slider, breaking balls in particular, are pitches that guys around the USPBL have struggled against so far this season. So if he can locate that pitch and go to it with 2 strikes, it's a good weapon out of his arsenal.
Here's Pedro Castellano now. 0 for 3 in game one. A couple pop outs and a ground out. His pop out in the middle at bat, though, kind of looked like just like a looping little pop fly that was going to be caught in short left field, but it carried Anthony Jones all the way back nearly to the warning track. A light wind here today comparatively to what it is, I guess you'd say at least 50% of the time. We've got a lot of wind factor normally here at Jimmy John's Field as Castellano sees that one duck inside, the flag barely wavering out in right center field. Here to start game 2. Saw it pick up a bit more at times in game 1. McConnell moving to third base. They're going to throw there and get him. Malik Blaze slaps the tag down, and McConnell hangs his head as he thought he was safe at third base.
The rarity of the caught stealing going into our stat sheets this year has been fun, interesting to watch. Last Sunday, when these 2 teams met up, we had a caught stealing, and I believe entering that day, it was either 39, 40, or 40, or 41 had been successful when it came to stealing up until.
On the ground to Hodo, this one for the third out. So good job by the defense to surrender out of that. Nothing becomes of leadoff walk, strikeout, ground out, and also put out at third base. As we're scoreless heading to the bottom half after this on the USPBL Network.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. fsbcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Attention, Michigan, there is absolutely no need to drive all over town searching for new flooring. When the Carpet Guys will come to your house on your schedule, we'll bring our store to your door so you can shop in the comfort and privacy of your own home. And you'll love our huge selection. Buy right now with interest-free financing for up to 4 years. You can carpet your entire home for as little as $11.99 per month. Let the Carpet Guys take the stress out of buying new flooring. Call for a free in-house shopping experience today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855 for my guys.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field. Pierce Banks going to toss against this Unicorns lineup as they line up like this here today. Jones leading off and playing left field. Frankie Luska batting second and catching. Colby Johnson in the 3-hole and playing center field. Drew Galassi, Noah Childress, Aaron Takis in the heart of the order. Donovan Curiel will bat seventh and play shortstop. And Malik Blaze and John Hodo will round out the lineup here today. As you see these Hoppers warm up, check their defense, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. Greg Vaughn Jr. starts in left field. Jason Aponte in center. Ben McConnell in right. De Los Santos and Galassi, or Krushina, I beg your pardon, on the corners. Castellano and De La Cruz, a double play combination with Gunnar Rainey starting to behind the plate here in game 2.
On the mound for Pierce Banks, you can expect to see the 4-seam, 2-seam curve and slider mix. Kind of described as more of a creative pitcher. The velocity won't necessarily overpower you, but if he can stay working out of the windup and in the driver's seat, then typically when he's doing that, it's the ground ball contact outs, the soft contact, much like we saw to Miguel Sereno of the Unicorns earlier today, that can lead to success for Banks.
His third appearance, all of them being starts thus far. He's tossed 9 innings, walked 4, struck out 12. Looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table here today. Pitch. 0-1 is pounded back to the screen. Those shadows starting to creep away from home plate. Kind of in the 5th, 6th innings of game 1, those started to become a factor for the hitter. Have not shadowed all the way over the pitcher's mound quite yet. The 0-2. Slinged in on the corner for strike 3.
That's a beautiful pitch when he is finding those cold strike 3s and locating the arsenal well. He's fun to watch. Was able to get Anthony Jones to go down there, and Jones is a guy who had the leadoff single in game 1. Now Luxka in a different 2 spot as we talked about earlier.
Lefties have had a bit more success in a small sample size versus Pierce Banks. The righties have eclipsed a .095 average. 2 for 21 thus far with 1 walk to 9 strikeouts. The lefties 4 for 12 with 4 strikeouts as well. 0-1 slider in for strike 2.
Saw Luxka get down 0-2 a couple of times in game 1, which is a rarity.
And if he does, he's a great candidate to try to work it back to 2-2 or 3-2 and then get himself a walk.
Oh, yeah, I'd still vote for him down 0-2.
On that track, let's see if he can continue it. The 1-2, no sir, as he swings and misses. 2 up, 2 down, both on strikeouts. Second strikeout in this doubleheader for Frankie. Now Colby Johnson will try to scathe something here in the first. The first for Greg Shanahan started out a bit rocky. 4-pitch walk to Ben McConnell, but then struck out Adam De La Cruz, and then Castellanos at bat. Ben McConnell was cut down trying to steal third base. Would have been his second steal in the inning. Strike one to Colby Johnson, and then shortly after that, Castellano with a ground ball. And Shanahan was out of the inning after the leadoff walk. You always kind of breathe a sigh of relief as a starting pitcher when you walk the first guy you see and he doesn't create any damage. Now the 1-1. In there for strike two.
Colby Johnson is another guy in this Utica lineup that is in a different spot today, moving up to the 3 spot. He was down at the bottom of the order when these teams met up last Sunday.
1-2 fastball poured out of play.
And a wonderful personality as well, Colby Johnson. He can typically be found around the ballpark wearing a cowboy hat, Jeremy. I mean, Lewisburg, Virginia native, has kind of the mountain accent to him.
It's got the stash to go with it as well. Those spirited socks. Chokes up on the bat. He with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Drew Galassi on deck. 1-2 again poured back. So we saw our first intentional walk to Drew Galassi in the last game after he hit his 8th home run and under 50 at-bats. Think about that. We believe the USPBL record is 15. Unconfirmed. We'll try to get that for you going forward. Curveball outside.
Either way, he could be on track to break at least that number. He's been so fun to watch this year, as we mentioned. Has the aggressive but kind of selectively aggressive mindset, Galassi. He can spray it to all fields.
2-2 dashes in. 3-2 on Johnson. You see the room available for him if he wants to go there. In left center field, Jason Aponte playing him way over. The 3-2. Again, poured foul. So both these pitchers' pitch counts being worked up a bit here in the first inning for, I guess, 2 different reasons. 2 strikeouts so far for Pierce Banks. 1 looking to Jones, and the last one swinging to Luska.
Johnson is another guy who can work a pretty deep count. We've mentioned the fact that the deeper the count, more it favors the batter. He has a nice compact swing. It's level. Favorite player is Mike Trout. And that's another guy with a nice level swing.
Waiting on the 3-2. Golfed into the diving glove of De La Cruz at short. 1-2-3 inning for Pierce Banks. Both of these guys face the minimum on the USPBL network.
All right, thanks, Johnny. It's time for the Mr.
Greg Vaughn Jr., Nick Kreitzer, and Jason Aponte, your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up here in the second inning against Greg Shanahan. The first So leadoff walk to Ben McConnell, and then the stolen base to seconds. Adam De La Cruz, the very next batter, and then Pedro Castellano grounded out, and McConnell was cut down at third base looking to steal. So in the end, two pretty crafty innings by these two starting pitchers here today.
Let's see if Shanahan can settle in here. Second inning of work. Good to see him in the starting role today. I can just off speaking to him tell he was excited for this new change.
And you mentioned last year was able to rifle off some starts mixed in with the bullpen appearances, more so at the end of the year. Greg Vaughn Jr. in game one had a walk back in the fourth inning, otherwise a pop out and a ground out. First pitch slider outside to Greg. So Shanahan, pretty much fastball slider. Nearly split between the four-seam and the two-seam. 40% four-seam, 25% two-seam, 31.5% slider. And then every once in a while, the changeup mixed in. 2-0 in for strike one.
Cranked it up that time and went to 88. If he can establish strike one, strike two inside to right-handed batters, that can set up the ability to expand the strike zone. We saw him register a strikeout with the slider away in the first inning. So I'd like to see him maybe do that from a pitch sequencing standpoint.
It'll be interesting to see how long Greg Shanahan will, number one, go, and who they go to after that. Jordan Carr is believed to be unavailable here today heading into this doubleheader. You'd think Zach Jones is as well after his 2 innings of work. Did a nice job out of the bullpen relieving Miguel Sereno. Sereno obviously not available. 4 innings on the mound here today. 3-2, again, pounded foul. He says, I need a shower. I'm exhausted. Mentally and physically.
He is constantly consuming baseball. Works at the park on his off days, studies the game even then, scouting, and like you said, an instinctive guy who can learn 5 minutes before the game that he's going to go out on the mound and start.
Nice. Snapping the slider in for strike 3. Second strikeout for Shanahan here tonight. And he also kind of talked about like the ramp up for a starter mentally as you kind of prepare for an outing is different than a reliever. A reliever, you have to have that mentality. Yeah, I got to go at any point, and maybe that's what ultimately helped him do what he was able to do here today, even with all the circumstances he dealt with. But pretty impressive all the way around. First pitch to Kreitzer is looped foul.
And also when you're coming out of the pen versus starting, you know, you're seeing the order first, second, third time through the order, and do you have a chance to warm up in the bullpen versus when you're, I guess, also I should add on to that by noting that when you're coming out of the pen, hitters' timing is naturally going to be a little bit more disrupted against you because they've seen other arms, other deliveries prior to, say, you're coming in the 4th or 5th inning. But as a starter, and once you get 3rd, 4th inning, they have seen you once or twice. But Miguel Sereno did very well to keep hitters off balance and collect outs quick and easy. The 9 up, 9 down was very key.
0-2 fluttered its way into center. Nick Kreitzer looking to put some consecutive games together with hits. That's a nice start.
Yeah, another pitch that time kind of over the heart of the plate, and Kreitzer timed it up well. Described his swing as calm, but violent. Now, that time, the batting, the power numbers are high for Kreitzer, but when he can also just get on base, it helps just as much.
Big lead on the secondary for Kreitzer as Aponte looks at strike one. You talked about that, hitters seeing a pitcher the second time, the third time through an order. Here's the 0-1 away. Matt Snyder was able to dig up before the game what Malik Barrington's numbers were first, second, and third time through the order. And they're very interesting, really. Get to that in a second. Here's the 1-1 to Aponte. Off the glove of Frankie Luska. As Kreitzer makes his way down to second base. Again, Luska getting his first start this year at catcher, not his first start of his pro career. Tried that a couple times last year as they continue to look for the right position. But the numbers on Barrington, these are estimates, but around a 200 batting average first time through the order. It dips down to around 100 the second time through the order, and then shoots up to 400 the third time around. So kind of up, down, up. And it starts down. Don't give me, 200 is not something to wow at or anything. Pretty low.
That's an interesting note. When you think of, I've talked about some of the common denominators between the best pitchers in baseball. Earlier, we talked about Ricardo Velez and needing for the strikeouts to be efficient. If he is going to be a strikeout pitcher consistently, as the higher you get in levels of baseball, for when it comes to that number, as I get the strike called there, that number 1, 2, 3 times through the order, the better pitchers, that typically tends to go down or stay at a level basis, but particularly go down when you think of some of the best guys on the mound in baseball. So that's an interesting note there on Barrington.
Here's a look at the base pass umpire who rung up Aponte. Paul Nochi getting in a few words from his coaching position at third base. For his pitch to Gunnar Rainey, takes a big hack. The fastball high and inside as he lifts it out of play. This second inning tonight brought to you by Valpak on the USPBL network. We appreciate you tuning in for maybe one or both games of this doubleheader here tonight. Slider on the ground to Curiel. Picks it up, fires to first. Made a harder play look pretty easy. Nothing becomes of the one-out walk here in the second against Shanahan. He's allowed just 2 base runners here tonight.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Told me he was practicing the Carlton. So Nate, I want you to show them what you got. Oh, but he needs a little encouragement. Needs some little chin. Oh man, I see some fans up there. But wait a second, I think there's someone over there in section 101 who also can do the Carlton. Is that JT? Oh, JT's got some moves. I see some fans doing the Carlton. Let's see who does it better. Nate, one more shot. Oh, man. All right, Johnny, I don't know. That was so good. You may have to be the tiebreaker. Is it going to go to JT or is it going to go to Nate?
You know what? Jimmy John's Field, what do you say? JT, let's hear ya.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Okay, now what about Nate Bliska?
Ooh.
Sounds like Nate's got it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Nate's my winner. Nice job, Nate. You guys got some good moves.
Good stuff. You're a 90s night at the ballpark here today. Some elongated innings, but snappy when you look at the scorebook. Just the minimum for Pierce Banks as he struck out Jones, Luska, and then got Colby Johnson to line out. Then in the first for Shanahan, allowed just a walk at a caught stealing, a strikeout and a ground out. A lot of one-out single in the second to Nick Kreitzer, and then the strikeout to Aponte and the ground out to Rainey. And just like that, he's only allowed 2 base runners through 2. And here comes Drew Galassi on high alert as everyone watching here tonight at the ballpark and at home as this one grounded to first. Krushina, the easy play, 3 unassisted, 4 up and 4 down for Pierce Banks. Now Noah Childress will come to the plate. First baseman for the second consecutive game for the Unicorns.
That last out, Jeremy, for Banks is a representation of what you'd like to see out of him today. 4 up, 4 down, as you mentioned. As he comes in at 71, which is kind of another representation of his arsenal. Not the high velocity, but the creativity that can lead to success and staying away from the barrel of the bat.
2 off-speed pitches that go down low, 2-0. Or 1-1, I beg your pardon, to Noah Childress. Here's the even pitch. Fastball at 89, slides in for strike 1. It's a fastball that is topped out at around 90. His average velocity has been 88 coming into tonight, but you look at today, it's been around 89 consistently. 1-2, swing and a miss. That one at 90. 5 up and 5 down against Banks now. And now Aaron Takis will try to do some damage. He had a strikeout and a 2 RBI double in game 1. Just 2 at-bats for Aaron, hitting 6th for second consecutive game. But in a 6-inning contest, probably not a normal for him to only get 2 ABs. It nearly came back to him for a 3rd time in the 5th. Castellano. What a 1-2-3 inning for Pierce Banks. Back-to-back. This one much quicker. Here in the 2nd inning, clean all the way around, tied at 0s.
Stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go. There's no stopping me. No stopping. Degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Traveling at the speed of light.
81-degree day. It hasn't changed much since first pitch of game number 1. It'll heat up in the Metro Detroit area tomorrow. So if you like heat, we want to see you at the ballpark tomorrow on 4th of July. Bonus fireworks show as well. Had the prototypical Friday fireworks yesterday, but 90 tomorrow. From what I understand, the real feel will probably make that feel a bit warmer. 93 on Monday. It's weird, 2 back-to-back weeks now. I guess technically, league play went from Wednesday to Sunday this week with the non-public games that happened on Wednesday and Thursday, but next week again, scheduled Friday through Sunday games with the All-Star game smack dab in the middle and the Home Run Derby on Saturday as well. Christian De Los Santos, Will Crushina, and Ben McConnell, your Zach Hart agency three-men due up here in the third inning for these Eastside Diamond Hoppers. So far, so good for Greg Shanahan. It was a leadoff walk back in the first inning against him. One-out single in the second. Looking to do a bit of the same here in the third. His counterpart, 6 up, 6 down for Banks. Liner that's going to stay up there to Colby Johnson in center.
Next up, the first baseman, number 25, Will Prashena. Will studied data analytics at Denison University, where he was also on the swim team. He also made the Michigan All-State playing high school ball for Detroit Country Day.
The Country Day native will step back to the plate. Looks at strike one. Crushina playing first base here in game two. Oh, 1 again. Lifted down the first base line. Childress has room, and he picks it up down there. Just to the right of JJ's dugout, kind of nearing the warning track in foul territory down the right field line. And that for the second out quickly here in the third. Does move it back to the top of the order for Ben McConnell. It's been a tough day so far for the Diamond Hoppers offensively. Shut out 6-0 in game number 1. Here's a little blooper to left center field, carrying Colby Johnson in that direction. But how about the inning now for Greg Shanahan? 3 up and 3 down, his first 1-2-3 inning, and the third consecutive from these two pitchers. That's your fifth third out, brought to you by Fifth Third Bank here today. Time for your DTE Energy Kids Race the mascot down to Chelsea Estes again. Chelsea?
Time for the DTE Kids Race the mascot round 2. Lancelot's a little tired, so we're moving a little slow. But Lancelot already did this, but he has to race not one but 2 kids today. As a brother-sister duo, he has Owen and Marissa. So I'm going to have Marissa stand here, and Owen's going to be right here. All right, you guys, since Lancelot already had to do this, he's a little slow. We're going to give him a 5-second head start, then you two are going to tag team, okay? All right, Lancelot, 3, 2, 1, hit it. Marissa, say, okay, go, you guys, go. Now you can go. All right, Marissa and Owen are already, Lancelot feeling this 90s music. It's cruising. Oh, it's a little close, you guys. Owen, Marissa, you got to go a little faster. All right, you guys, let's meet me at home. Come on, Lancelot's catching up. Lancelot got a second wind. Come on. Oh, man. Nice job, you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea. Your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot. More when we get back here in the USPBL Network. Jeremy Otto alongside Jason Ross Jr. to bring you the call here today. So glad you could tune in on your pre-4th of July Saturday. Robert Sherby, your director. Maddie Lemaster, our producer here today. First pitch to Donovan Curiel is in for strike one. Malik Blaze, John Hodo. Your Zach Hart agency, 3 men due up here in the 3rd inning. So far, so good for Pierce Banks. 6 up, 6 down, 3 strikeouts to his credit thus far. 1-1, golf right back at him. Knocked it down with the glove. And able to continue his 7 up, 7 down stretch now.
Never doubt the athleticism of a pitcher, Jeremy. Again, that time dealing with the elevation, but able to field his position well. And another quick contact out.
Malik Blaze will get his first at-bat of this doubleheader.
By the way, we've seen some good fielding in general. The Unicorns wrapped up that last half inning by way of the Noah Childress play. That ball was off the bat of, let's see, I believe, I'm not mistaken, who, I forgot just off the top of my head here who that was, but Childress kind of making a defensive adjustment, going from first to third, left to right, and just seeing different guys go through that today. That was Krishina, by the way, who told me that he's kind of also making the adjustment from infield to outfield, and said it's a little easier catching a fly ball than fielding a ground ball, but nonetheless, there are still adjustments.
1-1 fastball in for strike 2. 1-2 on Blaze, hitting 125. Checking into play today. Certainly one of your better defenders in the middle infield. He's been playing a bit more corner infield lately. Now the 1-2. Just out of the glove of Gunnar Rainey that time. 2 new catchers here in game 2 of this doubleheader. Not a surprise. Whether it was 6 innings or not, still 12 straight innings of catching can be very taxing. It's a bit of action. And the Hoppers' pen are ready here in the 3rd inning. Pierce Banks hasn't been really stretched out that much checking into tonight's game. The 1-2. Gallops that one outside. A 5-inning outing on the 17th of June. A 4-inning outing on the 23rd. And this, his 3rd start and appearance in a USPBL uniform. 2-2 right back at him. 2 up and 2 down again.
Changing eye levels, working in and out, changing speeds, all of the things that have become somewhat cliches when it attached to what you want to accomplish as a pitcher. But when you're doing those things well, it leads to efficiency and doesn't necessarily always have to be the strikeout numbers, because at this rate, Banks is going to breeze through several innings.
It's Colby Dewhurst warming up, one of the fairly newer pitchers. Righty out in the bullpen. He might just come in a bit earlier just to get some work in. Only 2 Diamond Hopper pitchers used in game 1. Velez getting the start. Carson Ferry relieving. Kind of lost in the result, but Carson Ferry looked really good here today. Struck out 4, retired all 6 hitters he faced. in innings 4 through 5, and more importantly, he came in for Velez after the 10-batter, 5-run third inning.
Came in and really showcased the fastball velocity as well. Picked it up after that lucrative 10-batter inning for Utica that plated 5 runs. John Hodo's the guy down at the bottom of the Utica lineup. When he's producing, it's excellent because typically he's in the 9 spot, so you turn it over to the top of the order, which is now, we'll see how much longer Anthony Jones has that leadoff role.
Swing and a miss by John Hodo. And how about Pierce Banks here tonight? 9 up and 9 down, similar to what we saw in the first game on the Unicorn side from Miguel Sereno.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
Greg Shanahan on for his 4th inning of work here. Him and Pierce Smith here today, or Pierce Banks, I beg your pardon, have done a really nice job of limiting base runners. Pierce has not allowed a base runner to this point, 9 up and 9 down. On the other side, a walk in the first inning for Shanahan, a single by Kreitzer in the second, and a 1-2-3 inning in the third as he's retired 5 straight quietly lately. So what are they doing on the field here?
Not sure, but this is the tune to one of my favorite 90s shows, Seinfeld.
So they're wrapping them up with the Mummy Challenge is what I hear.
Okay.
So those little guys wrapped in toilet paper. 90s night here today. Glad you could tune in on the USPBL network. 4th of July tomorrow and fireworks. Then on into next week. You have fireworks on Friday, Home Run Derby and All-Star Game on Saturday. Then Villains Day. The Villain Kids provided by Fairy Tale Entertainment. As a first pitch fastball into Adam De La Cruz. And after that, on July 15th, you have a Randy Dobnak bobblehead giveaway, so that should be a pretty cool night. And then on the 16th, more fireworks. 17th, your Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers Family Campout, also classic rock night. July 18th, Beauty and the Beast Day, and July 21st, Oldies Night. A lot of good promotions coming up. 1-1 slider off the plate inside. 2-1 on De La Cruz now. Bit of action in the Unicorns bullpen. Maybe some stretching for Jack Ferguson. On the ground to Curiel. Feeds it over to first harmlessly for the 6th out in a row now for Shanahan. And now Pedro Castellano will get his second shot in game 2, struck out swinging back in the first. Hard on the ground to Childress, bobbles, but Shanahan is there. A little PFP action going on for the second out.
So the pitcher always hustles over to cover the bag. Situations just like that. And Childress did well to recover at first.
And this is the best we've seen Shanahan here today. That one off the bat at 97.5, I think probably this season.
Yeah, really settled in after that first inning of work. And ever since the second, has matched Pierce Banks and created what's been a fun pitcher's duel so far.
Craig Vaughn Jr., lazy fly ball to right center field. It is carrying on Johnson a bit, able to make that catch for the third out. Another 1-2-3 inning for Greg Shanahan, his second in a row. Back with more after this on the USPBL Network.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth, and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
Pierce Banks, perfect through 3 innings so far. What have we seen that now from 3 separate pitchers in the last 2 days? I believe so, because Jackson Hicks, what was his numbers yesterday exactly as we look back at the scorebook here? Oh, he was close to that. So he had 8 up, 8 down, and then gave up a hit by pitch and a single last night. Regardless, some good pitching outings. And Shanahan and Pierce Banks going at it here in the 6th inning game. Halfway home already in it. No runs off 1 hit and no errors for the Diamond Hoppers. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Unicorns. And that's pretty impressive given this Utica lineup. Anthony Jones trying to change that and deliver what could be the game's first hit, trying to sneak a bunt in that loops foul. There's no more action in the Hoppers bullpen. We saw Dewhurst warm up at one point. No Adrian Cook through the other day. Hoppers were one of those teams that played in the non-public game. 0-1, fires the off-speed outside, 1-1. Slider there from Pierce Banks. Jones struck out in 3 pitches. It was looking back in the first inning. 2 strikeouts in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third so far for Pierce Banks.
Haven't seen many, not only lengthy innings, but lengthy at-bats in general against these Utica hitters.
Fly ball hanging up there in center, chasing Aponte back, corkscrewing around, and it ends up in his glove for the first out here in the 4th.
Yeah, got a good jump on a very hard hit ball and made his way back to the track, squared up, and made the play.
Frankie Luska, 0 for 1 today with a strikeout back in the first. Him, Jones, Childress, and Hodo gone down on strikes against Banks here today. Slider in for strike one. Or the curve, I beg your pardon.
Another pitcher with the ability to go to the breaking ball on any count, whether it's the curve or the slider.
Looping one there, deep in the hole for De La Cruz, throws across his body. Bingo! Off the pick from Crushina at first.
That's a beautiful play there. We talked about the absence of Juan Lopez Rios, not only in the lineup, but also at short. And Adam De La Cruz stepping up there with a beautiful backhand play. Made the throw across, and Aponte a nice pick.
So 2 up and 2 down. It's now 11 straight outs recorded by Pierce Banks. This one in for strike one.
Dropped in the breaking ball once again there on the first pitch and found another first pitch strike with it.
Here's the 0-1. Another curveball that remains high. Or that the, was that the curve? That's just a slider that had more of the curve look to it. The curve has been more around 73. That one at nearly 80. Even delivery. Fly ball left field chasing Greg Vaughn Jr. back to the track. Leaps and he makes the catch. He had a great beat to it, did Greg Vaughn Jr. And able to make the catch to end the fourth. 4 innings in a row with no base runners against Pierce Banks. Jenna Rose will have an interview after this here on the USPBL Network.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA councils.
Nick Kreitzer, Jason Aponte, and Gunnar Rainey, your Zach Hart Agency 3-men due up here in the 5th inning. Kreitzer had a single back in the 2nd inning. But other than that, since that point, Greg Shanahan retired everybody else. That's 9 outs in a row. Pierce Banks with 12 outs in a row. Another 1-2-3 inning. Good catch by Greg Vaughn Jr. to get back to the warning track in the wall quickly. Mini leap. Was able to keep it in play. And we're seeing length from 2 guys where we weren't exactly sure how long they would go here today in a 6-inning game. But certainly, we talked about it already, this Unicorns pen a bit more unavailable. We saw Sereno and Zach Jones go, so Krenrich and Jack Ferguson are the 2 available arms. Ferguson has already thrown 2 innings this week, so it wouldn't be a worst-case scenario if you didn't throw it all today. But he has been up and stretching at points in the bullpen. It looks like he is lightly tossing to this point now.
Yeah, both guys, Shanahan for Utica and Banks for Eastside, will be thanking the defenders behind them. A little more hard contact off of Banks in that last half inning, but Greg Vaughn Jr. made the nice play in left field. You brought up an interesting point, Jeremy, with the breaking balls. The differentiation between the slider and the curve is something that the higher you get in baseball, the more differentiation you need on those pitches in speed and break to the hitter.
First pitch breaking ball there from Shanahan.
We've seen quite a few of those today. First pitch breaking balls pour in for strikes. And Shanahan, the contact outs ever since that first inning have really been useful. Easily the best we've seen him so far this season.
0-1 is in for strike two, and certainly an interesting story, which we discussed yesterday. Some guys, will ditch the slider or the curve, vice versa, according to which they throw better. Usually, maybe not the case when they throw both, but in the case of Jackson Hicks, as Kreitzer looks at strike three, who we talked about yesterday getting the first 8 outs in the game last night against the Beavers. Shane McCandy, Justin Orenduff, the pitching staff here at the USPBL noticed that he was really using his body. He was trying to use his body to curve the baseball, which is something you kind of can get into trouble doing. And it was more of a slurve. Jackson even called it that heading into the season this year. So Shane said, how about you just throw the slider? That way you can throw it just like a fastball. You can throw it as hard nearly as a fastball. And make sure you're coming out of that same arm slot. And it's worked so far for him. Not that the curveball was a bad pitch for Jackson, but they think the slider can be even better. And when you combine that with what it can be a very plus-plus splitter, you're talking about a guy who's already receiving interest because of those tier 1 pitches in his fastball and splitter, and then you add in a quality slider, and you're looking at maybe a hot prospect here out of the USPBL.
And Jackson Hicks is one that his teammates describe as a mountain of a man. I mean, he just has a wonderful personality on and off the mound. And as you noted there, Jeremy, some top-tier pitches right out of the gates. It was the fastball that kind of shocked us with the consistent velocity. But you add in the splitter, the slider, very effective.
Yeah, work ethic is something that comes up character, certainly when you talk to the coaches. But both him and Malik Barrington got a really nice comment from Shane McCandy, the pitching coordinator here at the USPBL before the game yesterday. As Gunnar Rainey takes a big swing and a miss, Shane said, hey, both Barrington and Hicks are two guys that we could easily see move on to a higher level from the USPBL, but also two of the hardest workers he's ever seen in the last few years. So some high-level comments from some of the people that matter, I guess, here at the league.
Oh, yeah. It was a particularly cool day, by the way, for Jackson Hicks. His girlfriend came in from North Carolina, so he had some family in the stands as well, and it's a neat day for him.
Yeah, Emily, an avid watcher of the USPBL network, as we heard as well. Flying ball to left field, chasing Jones back. He originally scattered nearly to the warning track, but realized that one was maybe a bit more in. In the end, collects the second out. And now Christian De Los Santos will be the last shot here in the 5th. If you haven't watched Jackson Hicks, if you haven't heard the story of Jackson Hicks, it's pretty remarkable. A guy who did not have any college offers coming out of high school, a guy that was a shortstop, really, exclusively until his junior year of high school. And he was hitting around 150, and he looked at himself and said, this isn't going to work. I got to try something else. And that something was pitching. And at that point, he wasn't throwing very hard, as this one is punched to right into the hands of Aaron Takis for the third out here in the 5th. Greg Shanahan able to strand the one-out hit by pitch. Time again for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here tonight for the second time. Let's see if we can nail it again. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
I'd say we're 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, why not? 5th inning stretch brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here today. To the bottom of the 5th when we get back.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Pierce Banks back out there for the 5th inning of play. We're in the late innings, Jason.
We are.
In a 6-inning game.
Well, our 11th total inning of the day, I
yes.
guess you could say. Yeah, 2 double headers, 2 6-inning games today in this doubleheader, and it's been a fun day of baseball here at Jimmy John's Field. But as we mentioned, a little more hard contact off Banks that last half inning. However, his fielders backed him up. Our hitters potentially maybe adjusting this time around. Not an easy task to start off with in Drew Galassi.
Yeah, I guess you breathe a sigh of relief when he comes up when the bases are clear and you're starting an inning, or do you? Because it's a scoreless game. I don't think you're going to walk the leadoff man here in the 5th, because Pierce Banks has not done anything of that variety. No walks, no hits, no hit by pitches. It's been a clean game so far for Pierce. 12 up and 12 down. First pitch to Galassi is the fastball outside. It'll be interesting to see if he is given the chance to finish the game, if he's doing what he's doing still at the end of this inning. There is a bit more stirring. Looks like Dewhurst is again risen up. Fastball pins the corner for strike 1. 4 strikeouts for Pierce Banks, continuing to improve that strikeout to walk ratio. Has not walked anyone tonight. 1-1 is Gunnar Rainey trying to steal a strike for him. Home plate umpire didn't bite.
It's a good eye there as well from Galassi to take that pitch, kind of sinking down in the zone.
So it's now 4 walks to 14 strikeouts on the year for Banks. 2-1, curveball, and Galassi couldn't catch up with it.
It's a deceptive pitch especially when he speeds you up a bit, then slows it back down with the curve, and he's gone to that on any count, so you can't really guess when it's coming at you. And one that's obviously difficult to make solid contact with, as we saw there.
Above average spin, certainly here in the USPBL on that one, 2,400. Major league average for a curve around 2,500 when things are normal without the craziness of spider tack and everything. Here's the 2-2. Decent pitch, but Galassi was on it.
Just the 50th pitch of the day for Pierce Banks. That's an impressive number through 4 full innings of work so far against the Utica lineup that throughout the course of the season has really gotten pitch counts up so far against opposing pitchers. We saw that against Velez in game 1. Now he's naturally a guy who's going to have a high pitch count with a strikeout style that he has.
2-2, fly ball to the gap in right center field. McConnell chasing that one. He won't get it as it hops towards the Clinton River and out of play. It's a ground rule double for Drew Galassi. And his amazing slugging percentage just gets better. Checked into play today with a .930 slugging. That breaks up the perfect game here in the 5th. And maybe that makes Paul Nochi's life a bit easier as well. Maybe a lot easier, as that might be it for Pierce. It is. They were trying to go with him as long as possible. Colby Dewhurst has not thrown this week, so it's possible even if he got perfect through 5. I mean, it is kind of a weird scenario, right? Because it's not even a 7-inning game. It's a 6-inning game here in the doubleheader. Still means something to be perfect through 6, but at the same time, maybe not the same cachet as a 7 or 9 complete. So Dewhurst will check in. We'll check his numbers when we get back.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
Colby Dewhurst takes over now for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Maybe only the second arm that will be used and complete if he can get through this 5th inning clean and come out for the 6th. Dewhurst, the righty, locally out of Livonia, Franklin. 4-seam fastball, a circle change, and a slider.
A year and a half ago, had Tommy John surgery and has battled back from that. Told us, though, doesn't necessarily feel like he's 100% back. Still trying to figure some things out. But you mentioned the arsenal there, 4-seam circle change slider. The key for him, in his words, is locating that mix of pitches. And we'll see if he can do that, which his predecessor, Pierce Banks, did pretty well.
It's interesting when guys come back from Tommy John, you hear some major league guys say, yeah, I felt stronger, or yeah, it was a process. I mean, it's always a process to come back. It's kind of a year's wash, not even a season's worth sometimes for guys, depending on when they have to have it and when it's determined that they have to go to surgery with Tommy John. But Colby still working his way back, as Jason kind of alluded to.
He'll probably work out of the stretch here, inheriting a runner at second base and a speedy one in Drew Galassi.
Doesn't get any easier, as we've talked about here today after Galassi, with Childress, Takis, Curiel all backing him up. Unicorns trying to rally for the first time here in Game 2, as this is popped up to the left side. De Los Santos under, drifting, and got it for out number 1.
That's a big out number 1, considering the 4-5 punch that you mentioned between Galassi and Childress, and now Tactics coming up. So really good quick, obviously, first out there for Dewhurst.
Takis with a ground out back in the 2nd inning. That went 4-3. Castellano to Krushina. Some billowy clouds over the stadium now. They've kind of been sparse here today as the sun begins to set. You can kind of see that tint of red behind some of those puffy clouds above us. Just another beautiful day for baseball, slightly warmer than last night. They got a little chilly at the end of the day. Sub 70 by the time the sun went down and the fireworks went off. So you just imagining all the fireworks in the sky, during the game tomorrow night, that Sandlot picture. We had it a little bit last night. There was some going off. We couldn't really see them before ours obviously went off on the field after the game was over.
Jeremy, I may have to watch Sandlot tonight as you bring that up. It just feels so festive,
yes.
Doesn't it? I mean, we have 4th of July night baseball tomorrow. 2 fireworks in one weekend. Now,
2-0 is away. What's your neighborhood like? Have you been hearing and seeing a lot of them lately?
There are quite a few going off around the area, and I was just going to note, I had to confirm it, but Sandlot is a 90s movie, and it's 90s night, so we can sneak that in on, again, a very festive note.
And it looks like they're just going to intentionally walk Takis with a 3-0 count to pull the force at first, second, and third, and Donovan Curiel trying to break through in this 0-0 tie. Sandlot 1993.
93.
The year after that was a really good year. You know why?
Is that when you potentially entered planet Earth?
I did, yes.
Okay.
First pitch to Donovan Curiel is outside as Galassi scrambles his way to third. He read that all the way. Takis remains tight at first.
Obviously a big opportunity here with runners on the corners, 190 feet away from home plate, less than 2 outs.
One 0 floats in for strike one. Another looping breaking ball from Colby Dewhurst. He does not have a curveball in his arsenal. It looked like one. This one into left, a base hit, and that will be the game's first run. Curiel coming up with a big RBI here in the 5th inning of a 6-inning game, keep in mind.
Something we haven't said very often today. Did well to make some nice solid contact there and sent the pitch to left field. All of a sudden, the Unicorns have themselves a 1-run advantage here, again in the late stages of this game.
Jack Ferguson throwing on mound's length now. He was at times the closer at the back end of games last year for the Beavers, now pitching with the Unicorns this year. He had a 2-inning save the other night on one of those closed-door games. Another slider inside to Malik Blaze, 1-0. A slider a bit slower than we expected from Dewhurst here today. Usually around 74 to 78 with it.
And that's an interesting note on the slider, the velocity with it in particular, because we've heard, for example, Justin Orndorff talk about wanting to, with certain pitchers, ramp up the velocity on the slider. So you wonder, Dewhurst being relatively new to the USPBL, if that's something they'll work on him with. Now, you also mentioned no curveball technically in the arsenal as well, so perhaps the differentiation with another breaking pitch isn't something you're thinking about quite as often with Dewhurst as you would for maybe Ricardo Velez earlier today.
2-0, chopped foul.
That pitch had some nice late movement, kind of down in the zone. Blaze went fishing for it. And a good first strike. 2 balls, though, however, still on this count as well, with runners at first and second.
Obviously not a lot of data on Dewhurst, with only one other outing in the books besides this one here today, but he's had some decent spin on his fastball, checking in. Maxed out at 90, averaged around 88. Here's the 2-1. Timing maybe a bit off on that one as it slides outside. 3-1 now on Malik Blaze. We appreciate everybody watching on YouTube here today. We'll try to get our secondary channels up as well. Normally would stream for you on Twitch and Facebook. Ran into a few issues with that yesterday. Twitch, obviously the new platform as well for the USPBL network.
Jeremy, during our phone call, I kind of reiterated a question that's former Tiger Kurt Gibson asked current Tigers pitcher Tyler Alexander, where would you rank location, where would you rank movement, and where would you rank velocity in sequential order? And Dewhurst said for him it's location, because if you can't, number one, locate your pitches, then the velocity doesn't really matter. 2, movement, and 3, the velocity.
Certainly an important question for every guy, right? Because you have to play to your strength. And if you're not a guy who's going to throw 95, 96, then you're going to have to locate and or move the ball at a good clip. Spin, the hot topic of today's world in terms of all your pitches as well. A statistic that's constantly looked at by the pitching staff here at the USPBL. Runners on first and second. A run already in with only one out here in the fifth. This one, a hearty swing for Blaze. He's got a nice battle going with Dewhurst. So it appears that we'll see Jack Ferguson in relief of Greg Shanahan. And if it is the end for Shanahan, by far his best outing this year and maybe even his best outing of his USPBL career. Limiting this Diamond Hoppers offense to just one hit. No runs and no errors on the defensive side for the Unicorns either. The 3-2 again. Walked him. Double pop-out walk, single walk. The line against both Banks and Dewhurst here in the fifth. And now that brings up John Hodo. Ryan Ray and Jordan Finney available off the bench here today for Jim Essien. We saw Jordan Finney start at catcher in game one, so likely we won't see him. Ryan Ray is certainly a possibility, and that is going to be the end for Colby Dewhurst in the fifth. Not something I'm sure that Paul Noce wanted to do after he got a strong start from Pierce Banks. He went 4 complete worth of perfect baseball. Gave up a double to begin the fifth inning to Drew Galassi. He's been plated thanks to the RBI single by Donovan Curiel. Back with the pitching change after this on the USPBL Network.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA councils.
Hayden Pierce taking over for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers here in the bottom of the fifth inning. This team in a major jam. They have been shut out so far by the Unicorns in now 11 straight innings in this doubleheader. And more trouble brewing still happening here in the fifth. The pond is full of Unicorns thanks to a walk, a single, and a walk with one run already in thanks to Drew Galassi and Donovan Curiel. Hayden Pierce looking to continue what's been an 11-inning stretch without any earned runs given up. 4 walks to 10 strikeouts.
For Pierce, you can expect to see the 4-seam fastball, curveball, 2-seam slider, and changeup. Throws the 4-seam about 43% of the time. Curveball is the second most prominent pitch. 2-seam behind that, and then the slider will sprinkle in the changeup every now and then, but it's a relatively rare pitch for him.
2 very clean outings in a row. Had one on June 27th versus these very Unicorns. 2 innings, just a strikeout recorded in the stat column, 19 pitches. He got the win that night as well. Another outing versus the Unicorns on the 30th. That's this week. 1 inning, clean again. No runs, no walks, no hits, 11 pitches. Here, a bit dicey. A double play could end the threat. The bottom of the order is due up. between 9 and 3 in the lineup here today. They are a combined 0 for 7. So we'll see. Those numbers may be playing in the favor of Hayden combined with his body of work so far. First pitch to Hodo. Tailing fastball at 90 off the plate.
And not only does he have just the fastball, it's the fastball with movement. So getting it on you quickly, but that late break is what makes it effective.
He's topped out right around there, 89.6. That pitch was technically rounded up to 90. Most radar guns will is there's a can of corn. Infield fly rule for Castellano. He catches it for style points anyway for the second out here in the 5th.
Next up for the Unicorns, the left fielder number 5, Anthony Jones.
Well, you want to give your team a shot, right? And this potentially is what Hayden Pierce is going to do if he can record another out with the bases loaded.
This Hopper's team hasn't been shut out in consecutive games all season. Hadn't been shut out in any game prior to that first game earlier today, if you weren't with us, which was a 6-0 win for Utica. So they know the offense is there, but it is a matter of, as you mentioned, Jeremy, limiting the damage right now. That's the key.
First pitch to Anthony Jones. Fastball off the plate outside at 89.
Back to the top of this Utica order here. So obviously you don't want to walk home a run. But a big at-bat nonetheless facing Jones, the newcomer.
The 1-0. Fastball again with some tail towards the outer third. One and one on Anthony Jones.
And as a right-handed hitter, it looks like that's coming right over the heart of the plate, then just dives away from you.
How about the day for Eric Haas here locally? The Dearborn Divine Child product just continues to hit extra base hits and home runs for the Tigers. He drives in 6 today, 3 for 4 day, 2 home runs. One off Dallas Keuchel, another off Fry in the 4th and 7th innings, respectively. And the Tigers scathed an 11-5 victory over a White Sox team that's nearly been impossible to beat this year if you're Detroit.
Inside the park homer today for Haas.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. 1-2, swing and a miss. What a job by Hayden Pierce. They've had some back-end bullpen outings in this doubleheader that have been impressive. Just looking to get some runs. Their last ups when we get back.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better. With free checking and fraud protection services, 166.7% is possible.
166.7.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward, not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Well, you can win $250 and 4 front row tickets to the USPBL Championship game in September. Text Chevy Detroit right now. Drop everything, 555-888 against text Chevy Detroit to 555-888. You can visit ChevyDetroit.com/USPBL for all the official rules of that contest. And the side armor, Jack Ferguson, will come in to try to close out the game for the second time this week for the Unicorns. Ferguson will face 9-1-2 in this Hoppers lineup. It's Krushina, Ben McConnell, and Adam De La Cruz, who have combined for just one base runner in all those ABs thus far. Jack Ferguson, we told you earlier, the one-time Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver, did not start on a roster this year, dealt with some injuries at the end of last year. Another Madonna University product, Livonia native.
Well, to begin the season, Utica had a side armor in Keon Taylor. He was a righty and dealt to the Frontier League. Now Ferguson, another side armor, however, a left-hander. Nonetheless, that's a difficult task as a hitter, especially if you're a lefty facing him.
UCL strain was his injury at the end of last year. He likes how he's finishing a bit more on his front half since coming back to the USPBL, a guy that throws a two-seam, a changeup, and a slider. 1-0 on the ground and through the hole. A start that we really have not seen here today for the Hoppers. Not a lot of leadoff base runners, and if they have been out there, they've been capitalized on the defensive side.
No, that was a well-timed swing there and led to getting a runner on base here with Ben McConnell as you turn the order over. But just a pitch that was a little too sweet over the heart of the plate. Didn't quite break the way that Ferguson would have liked it to.
McConnell thinks about laying down a bunt. That one remains off the plate outside.
Represents the go-ahead run here. Had one of the only extra base hits in game one for the Hoppers.
Wow. Was that way off the handle? It sure looked like it.
Yep.
So Ben McConnell, I guess, still has another pitch to do that. He does have Malik Blaze really creeping in from his third base position now. Second time he has shown bunt in this at-bat. Here's the 1-1 from Ferguson. Slider. And Hodo has it all the way for the first out. It seems this is how it goes for Utica. Big win, you know, and a 6-0 advantage last game, then kind of a grinded-out win. They had a grinded-out win in the non-public games again, 2-0. Ferguson was able to close that one out. 2 innings in a row of scoreless baseball for Jack. Slips the fastball in at 86.
You are right about that pattern, and I think it ties back to what's a cliche, but the mentality of getting the job done no matter how you do it. And a win is a win at the end of the day, but it's also showcasing the versatility of this lineup to be able to come up in those clutch situations. Or I've touched on the 2-out damage as well. Practically all of the runs we saw pour in game one came with 2 outs, and that's been a common tendency for this Utica team so far this year. But they can also get it done in a game like this. 1 run, 2 run, when you're relying on the back end of the bullpen. We've seen it each and every way for this team that has the most wins in the USPBL so far.
Change up outside, 1-2 on Adam De La Cruz. If that is the changeup, it's nearly a 10-mile-an-hour differential for Ferguson. 1-2 outside. There's the fastball at 87. Fastball is topped out at 88, averaged around 86 through 3 innings of work. He's given up 1 earned run, 2 runs in total. That was on his first appearance. And a fly ball that's going to hang up and in the end carry a bit on Colby Johnson. He happily squeezes that one, though, for the second out, and now Pedro Castellano, the last chance here in the 6th inning. Now, you guys got the call of Westside and Birmingham Bloomfield tomorrow. You and Jenna Rose here on the USPBL network. Is that a 7 o'clock start?
It is 7:05 first pitch, so a little different than our typical 1 p.m. Sundays, but
for the fireworks,
fireworks, right? Yes. Yep, Coleman and Thacker. That could be a fun matchup tomorrow.
Outside to Castellano. You really wonder as well if Greg Loken will see some time on the starting side of things. He's been pitching so well.
That's what I was curious about, because started on Thursday in one of the non-public games. I would have loved to watch that. I mean, he had a scheduled start prior to that was rained out, essentially. Nonetheless, came out of the bullpen the next time out and just absolutely killed it, as he's been doing throughout the year. But I'd love to see him in a consistent starting role, because has a very bright future and a fun guy to chat with.
Local product out of Orchard Lake St. Mary's as well. There's the slider wiping out to the far side of the plate. 1-2 on Castellano. Coleman on the other end, entering with a sparkling walk to strikeout ratio, 4 walks to 20 Ks. 3.15 ERA entering play after 25 2/3 innings of work. Always a fun guy to watch. Works very quickly. Here's the 1-2. It's going to float its way to center. Johnson racing in. Clutches that one for the 3rd out of the 6th inning, and the Utica Unicorns are able to sweep this doubleheader. They shut out the Hoppers on both sides. 7-0 in total in the runs. Jenna Rose will catch up with our player of the game in the Auto Lab post-game show after this here on the USPBL network. Stick with us.
If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you. If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we're unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. fsbcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood, because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car, passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, there's no stopping me. No stopping.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA councils.
The Carpet Guys give you warehouse direct pricing that will knock your socks off.
Now at the Carpet Guys, you get 4 years interest-free financing.
Let the Carpet Guys bring the store to your door with prices that will knock your socks off. Be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
We're joined by Utica Unicorns shortstop Donovan Curiel after an exciting 1-0 win over the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. But dialing back to game one, it was a 6-0 win. So we have to talk about what was the message heading into the second game to make sure that you guys weren't overly confident.
Yeah, you know, we just had to keep playing the ball and put the ball in play and play good defense. And the hits are going to come. You know, hitting's contagious, so that's what we talked about.
Yeah, and specifically going back to the third inning in the first game, it was explosive, 5 runs. That wasn't necessarily the case when we look at this game. What was able to get the ball rolling after Galassi? What adjustments were you able to make in the box?
Honestly, just stay loose, score it up, and good things are going to happen.
Absolutely. We have to talk about the pitching staff for both games, keeping the Eastside Diamond Hoppers scoreless. How big is it to have pitchers who can execute on the mound?
It's great. It's great tempo, you know, playing defense behind them. And it just keeps everything going, the flow of the game. It's just an outstanding job.
And as a team, how are you going to build on this momentum moving forward for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, just sweeping this week, going 4-0 was our goal. We did that. We accomplished that. And now we just got to keep that momentum going and snowball effect and keep winning.
Well, Donovan, great work today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for joining us here on the USPBL Network. We'll see you next time.